Hello and welcome everybody to the GDQ Hotfix. I am your host and runner this evening, Etchy. I'm here to run my favorite game, my favorite speedrun to both watch and do. I'm super excited to show it off here on Hotfix. I'm going to be doing Let's Go Eevee Any Percent. And there's so much to talk about, so much to get into, and I think we should just get into the run right away. So I'm going to do a countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so Let's Go Eevee Any Percent is a weird category and a weird game for a lot of reasons. I guess I'll just start by explaining what the game is for those who have not played this game before. It is a Nintendo Switch release from 2018. It was the first Pokemon game Game Freak made for the Switch. It is essentially a remake of Pokemon Yellow specifically, with Pokemon Go mechanics. So it might not make sense what I mean by Pokemon Go mechanics, but it'll all become clear the moment I get into a battle. A battle, quote unquote. So starting off here, normal Pokemon stuff. I'm going to be naming my rival, naming myself one character just for text speed reasons. And if you didn't notice already, there's an Eevee jumping out towards the screen. That is going to be our starter. There it is again. He will be our guide through the Kanto region for at least these next 2 hours. So more of what I mean by remake of Yellow. For those who played Pokemon Yellow, they're basically just like a third version for Red and Blue, except you got to have Pikachu as your starter. And what that means is you just kind of beat the game with Pikachu and you get extra features. Like you can talk to Pikachu, you can hang out with Pikachu, it learns special moves, etc., etc., and that's all the case here. So before I go any further, I'm going to also set my options. We've just kind of been isekai'd into the world of Pokemon. I don't know exactly why my character is so surprised at existing, but just assume it's an isekai thing. But yeah, so we're going to be using Eevee. We're going to catch one in just a moment here. It is not a normal Eevee. It is a special Eevee. Same with Pikachu. If I was running Let's Go Pikachu. They have increased stats, so they're just better, faster, stronger, etc. And they also learn really powerful moves that we'll talk about more when we actually go learn them. But for context on this speedrun, it is my favorite speedrun for a lot of reasons. I'm going to gush about why this speedrun is so awesome non-stop for the next 3 hours, so buckle in and get ready for that. Both this version and Pikachu version are beloved by me. I run both of them pretty extensively. I have world records in both games for any percent and any percent no mount skips, which is not the category we're running today. And I play this game way too much, and I speedrun this way too much because, as some people put it, it is the speedrun that is like closest to a randomizer, or I guess the best way to phrase it is it's a speedrun that is really, really close to a randomizer. And the reason for that is all because of one little requirement they put into the game. So here's the Pokemon Go thing I was talking about. Surprise motion controls. I'll talk more about catching mechanics later. But the main reason why this run feels like a randomizer, more so than any other Pokemon games where there is RNG, right, is because one of the gym leaders, who is named Koga, has a requirement to enter his gym. Every gym leader has some sort of requirement. Most of them are pretty easy and you don't really have to think about. But Koga has a requirement that you must have 50 Pokemon registered in your Pokédex, which means that to basically catch 50 unique Pokemon in the run. Evolutions count for that as well. And that adds a lot of dynamic elements to the run. A lot of decision making, a lot of on your feet thinking, and a lot of pain and RNG. So I just caught my starter there. I'm going to go select them right now. I'm going to check to see what nature it is. If it's a bad nature, then I'll just run it anyway. I don't care. Nature just means it may or may not have boosted or decreased stats in certain stats. You generally don't want anything that has bad attack, special attack, or speed. These Eevees and Pikachu, if you're playing Pikachu version, do actually have fixed stats, but the nature is always different. And you also cannot evolve these starters, fun fact. So it's just going to remain an Eevee forever. All right, awesome. Lax is a totally okay nature that is plus defense minus special defense, which means it's not minus in any of the three that I mentioned earlier, which is all we care about. So Obviously, the best natures are the ones that increase your damage, because general Pokemon speedrun stuff, you want to go fast with high speed, and you want to do a lot of damage with high attack or special attack. So speed doesn't really matter too much for both this version and for Pikachu version. Sometimes it matters in this version, but plus speed doesn't really do anything. And plus attack just is really good. Plus special attack, really good in certain situations later. But you'll see that even though Eevee cannot evolve, it will actually channel the spirit of every single evolution later in the run. Again, kind of following up with the whole Pokemon Yellow remake, you couldn't evolve Pikachu in Pokemon Yellow either, basically to simulate the anime. And the other thing we're seeing here is that this game has overworld spawns. Very good that they introduced that in this game instead of just more RNG with random encounters like you see in some other Pokemon games. It does mean that you can pick and choose what you encounter and when, and it also helps a lot for like trying to hit that 50 catch requirement as efficiently as possible, because you can see the Pokemon before you encounter it. But there is still randomness to it, because sometimes things just don't spawn. And also, things seem to spawn on top of you, which is very much in line with older games having random encounters, where things just also spawn on top of you. And now it's time for the classic. We got our starter, and now we do the rival battle with our buddy here, who is not Blue or Gary Oak or whatever from the older games. His name is Trace. He is the stand-in rival for this game. I do not know exactly why they did this, but Blue is also in this game, and we're actually going to fight Blue later. But he's just not a rival. So our rival took the Pikachu that we didn't see, but is actually going to evolve later, unlike our Eevee, and is sometimes annoying, but not really a big deal. Kind of scary in late game. You have it worse in Pikachu version, because your rival's Eevee will evolve into Jolteon, which is more annoying because it's bulkier than Raichu. While I just mash A to tackle through this fight and hopefully get good RNG. Now's a good time to point out the controls for this game. This is how I play. Let me see if I can get a good look at it. So yeah, so I play on a Joy-Con grip with one Joy-Con in and no Joy-Con on the other side until I need that second Joy-Con. This game is pretty standard Pokemon controls. You just mash buttons. If you hold down a button, text goes twice as fast. And I just mash a bunch of buttons all the time during these brief cutscenes. Now, if you're wondering why I might use a second Joy-Con, it's because this game has this thing called, I don't know what it's called. I don't know there's an actual name for it, but this game does have two-player capabilities. So you can actually do battles and catches with two controllers, two players essentially, just for like a way to get like your kid brother to play the game with you and have fun. And it's a very essential part of the speedrun, because catching things with two controllers makes the catch rate go much, much higher, and makes the run a lot more consistent. There are also some fights that would be completely miserable and really inconsistent / slow if we could not do two controllers for the fights. And if that sounds broken, it is broken to just basically 2v1 your opponents. However, it is also slow, so you cannot do it all the time. So it's very tricky speedrun balance. And this game is elite in terms of amount of decision making that Game Freak did either intentionally or unintentionally, where they made a lot of broken things in the game and a lot of cool like elements or like slightly normally bad like quality of life things that inadvertently created like a designed in a lab perfect speedrun. And I'll like gush about it all as we have time throughout the run, but there's a lot of really cool things in this game that make the speedrun so cool. So here, I'm going to actually go ahead and catch this Caterpie early. There's a slight side effect. I'm going to go ahead and catch this first before I talk. So normally you want to catch Pokemon when it says excellent like that. So basically when the circle is as small as possible, because it gives you the best chance of catching it and the most experience. However, your first catch of the game doesn't really matter for your experience. And there's actually a secret hidden newbie modifier in the game, which basically if you catch anything before you enter the forest, you have a super high catch rate. So this Caterpie, even if I missed that excellent, it still would have gotten in like 99% of the time. Not 100% of the time because programming error, haha. But 99% of the time things will get in, so it's a lot more consistent if you can catch like a Caterpie or a Weedle before the forest. Even though it is lower level to go ahead and catch it when you can. There's no weather in this game, so another point with these battles is they are kind of simplified compared to modern Pokemon games. Part of this game's whole purpose is to bridge the Pokemon Go audience into Pokemon main games in general, or like people who maybe played the original games as a kid, didn't play for like years and years and want to get back into it. So the combat's actually pretty similar to the older games. There's no abilities, no Pokemon have abilities. There's no held items. There's no weather. A lot of things are streamlined in general with the combat, which is nice for the speedrun because there's just a lot less annoying things and you can focus on the actual fun parts being like the catching. But it does mean that people who want like the hardcore battle mechanics, the plus 252 special attack Eevee, Chi-Yu with overheat choice band, there's none of that. You don't have to worry about it. This fight can be annoying because Pidgey likes to use Sand Attack. And this was actually my first Pokemon game since, like, let me think. So I played Pokemon pretty much consistently through Heart Gold, Soul Silver. And then I like stopped because got into college, all that stuff. Life was busy. I tried XY, didn't really get into it. And then I didn't play Pokemon again until this game came out. And I was like, yeah, like Gen 1. That was my first Pokemon game, Pokemon Red. Let's try it out. And then I got sucked into it. And now I started speedrunning it. And I've been running it for like 4 years. Anyways. But this is a great game that got a lot of people back into Pokemon in general. Especially being like the first Switch game. So I'm actually going to keep this Caterpie in my party. I'm going to use a lure that I just picked up. All you need to know about lures is that they increase the spawn rate of Pokemon while also increasing the level that they appear at. So for example, if Pokemon here can spawn between level 3 and 6, then all Pokemon that spawn after the lure is used will be level 7. Rush that a little bit, but I'll just get extra experience later and it'll work out. Experience management is very important in this game and really tricky. The key thing for early game is I need to be level 10 in order to defeat Brock, because at level 10 I learned Double Kick on my Eevee, and Double Kick is a fighting move, which means we beat Brock. But other than that, it doesn't matter too much. I'm going to be tracking my catches off. You're not going to be able to see it on the stream overlay, but I'll just say how many catches I have at multiple points during the run to give you all a better idea of where I'm at. But I basically track and plan my catches nonstop throughout the run in order to meet that 50 Pokemon requirement as efficiently as possible. So I got the Caterpie down and the Weedle down, and those are like the two best catches ever. That's a really good crit, because they're basically 3-for-1 catches. Because obviously if I catch a Weedle, it's a Weedle, which is +1 for my Pokedex, but it also evolves twice. I'm going to catch this because it is glowing. A glowing Pokemon gives you even more experience. I'll pet the Eevee later, relax. Basically, if it's glowing red, it's a huge Pokemon. If it's blue, it's tiny. And sometimes they can be super huge and super tiny and give you way more experience, but not that often. Okay, so perfect. Got to level 10. Exactly what we want to see. And we also got our evolutions, our first evolutions for Caterpie and Weedle. But generally, glowing Pokemon is what you want to catch a lot of the time because they just give more experience, and experience is really good. Experience is overpowered. I'll explain more what I mean by experience is overpowered later, but it is very possible for a high experience catch in the mid game to suddenly turn your run into the greatest run ever, or also just kill your run potentially. It's funny how it works, but got my Metapod, got Got the not Weedle, Kakuna. And now I'm ready to enter Pewter City. If I see a Pidgey or a Rattata, I will catch them. At least on the next route, because they're slightly higher on the next route. There's a lot to talk about with like catching and like the idea of how catching works. And I'll try to break it down more in detail later. The hard part with honestly doing... So I've done tons of marathon runs of this game. And the hard part is always just like how to spread out the information, how to not just overwhelm everybody within 2 seconds. Because, again, very simple game. Very easy to get into speedrun with a really high skill ceiling and a really... I don't even know how to describe it. There's really complicated ways of thinking about this game, I guess, is the way I would put it. And that's what happens when you play this game for 4 years. So yeah, I would like to see a Rattata here, ideally. Pidgey's okay, too. I'm going to get that Rattata. Mostly because marathon run, and I just want to get more experience, because more experience is always good. Rush it a little bit, but again, my experience is fine, so... The difference between great and excellent experience isn't too impactful right now, at least. And it's still going to get in, so we're okay. I have seen shiny Pokemon many times in this run because you see so many Pokemon in the overworld at all times, and in this game, if they are shiny, they do appear shiny in the overworld. So I actually haven't seen one in quite a while, but I've probably seen like 15 total over the course of running this game. Dodging Pokemon is really annoying and really hard, but yeah, that other person coming down is just, you know, the two-player thing I was talking about, so if you're confused by that, that's what I meant. So Brock has a requirement that I have not talked about yet, which is you have to show him a grass or a water Pokemon. There are no water Pokemon you can catch this early in the game, so you have to show him a Bellsprout or a Bulbasaur or their evolutions, I guess. You can get a Bulbasaur in the forest, but it is pretty rare. It's not worth waiting around trying to get one. I also could have got a Pikachu in the forest, but did not spawn. Hard part with this game is really just knowing when to wait for things and when not to wait for things. And generally at a high level, at like world record chasing level, the answer is you never wait for things. I almost showed him Rattata. He would have kicked me out. I would have cried, but it's okay. Caught it. So when you're not waiting for things to spawn in order to hit your 50 catch requirement, usually what that means is you're just adapting and trying to think of plan Bs through Fs all the time, which is really engaging and really fun for me compared to a lot of other Pokemon speedruns where the strats are generally the same and the adaptation you do is just like, oh, I got crit, I need to heal. Or, oh, I just got unlucky and I got crit, so the run's over. Obviously, you can get unlucky in fights in this game too, but it happens way less often than other Pokemon games. This is a Gen 7 Pokemon game, so the crit rate is more fair. It's 1 in 24 instead of 1 in 16. And it also only does 1.5 times damage instead of 2 times damage, like it did in older gens. Gonna tail it first here, and then I can do my double kicks. We're actually gonna see Blue in about 5 seconds. He shows up a couple times in the game. We actually fight him one time. And the red and green are also in the run, or in the game, but we're not going to see them in this run. So that's Brock. First gym leader down. Second gym leader not too far away from here. We're going to do some shopping once I'm done with this blue cutscene. Main things to note is I finally have Great Balls. I know I said finally. It's been 18 minutes. Finally. Great Balls. Great Balls just give you better catch rates, so they're very good. You want to always have Great Balls out, basically, for the rest of the run. I'm also going to buy some X items. TLDR for X items. You're going to see me use them a lot in the run. I'm not going to go into the math. All you need to know is if I use like an X attack, my attack goes way up. If I use an X speed, my speed goes up, etc. And a lot of strats in Pokemon speedrunning are generally use X items and then sweep the opponent team. That is the case with this game too, but to a lesser degree because of 2 controller fights existing. So I need my shopping here. Get some X special attack. Get some status heals so we can heal our poison, our burns, and our sleeps. And away we go. So something to talk about with catching here is, let's talk about Pidgey, for example, right? So why did I not like catch a Pidgey in the forest or wait around for a Pidgey when like I need 50 Pokemon and I can get a Pidgey there? Because Pidgeys can evolve. Pidgey can evolve into Pidgeotto, which can then evolve into Pidgeot. So the most ideal thing to do, is that an Ekans? No. Ekans can spawn here. If you see it, it's cool. If not, it's okay. Pidgey can evolve. So the most ideal thing to do is to catch it as high level as possible. If you noticed when I was like leveling up from catching things earlier, it's not like Sword, Shield, and later Pokemon games. You actually gain levels one at a time in this game. And so each level up basically costs you like 1 to 2 seconds. Unless it's an in-battle level up with your active Pokemon, then it's like 6 seconds. So what that means is that the more levels a Pokemon has to do, the more time loss it is for you. So the most effective thing to do is to catch things at the highest level possible, basically. So for Pidgey, the best thing to do is actually to catch it way later in the game when we're going down what used to be Cycling Road, where you can catch it at level 38. So it just takes one level up to evolve, and it takes another level up to evolve again, and then you're done. If you catch Pidgey, say, around Vermilion, it'll be like level 18 or 17. So one level gets you to Pidgeotto, but then it takes a ton of levels to get to Pidgeot. I was supposed to do them in here, but I can do it after. It's not a big deal. It's actually safer to do this in terms of catch situation. And then if you do that, you just lock yourself out of Pidgeot. So it's very situation dependent and very much depends. I did buy a Magikarp there because it is the fastest Pokemon you can get in the entire game. And it only costs $500. Any gift Pokemon in general is really good in this game. Highly recommend. There are one controller categories. It's just the Japanese version, or Japanese language runs, because Japanese players run with one controller. That was a Clefairy. I do want that, but not yet, because I'm going to use a lure. People used to run one controller. That was actually the norm with this game, for the first few months of the game existing and being a speedrun. But that changed fairly quickly because the run is miserable with one controller. So with what we know now about like catches and catch rate and whatnot, and using 2 controller strats, my average breakouts per run is maybe like 1. Like I'll average 1 Pokemon breaking out of a catch per run. If you're doing one controller, your average is probably close to 40. And that is not an exaggeration. It's really bad. You have so much less control when you do one controller, and it really sucks. So I'm getting Moonstone there. There's a trick you can do with the time to try to get a second one, because you wait for the clock to roll over to midnight and then get another one. I'm going to go catch this Clefairy. I did set up the clock for it. I don't know if it'll actually work out. We'll try. Technically, I should have got the Geodude first, but it's not a big deal. I'm getting owned. Please stop jumping. I missed the circle. Of course. Yeah, so if I had gotten Geodude first, I wouldn't have had to switch my ball to Great Ball, because you have to wait out Geodude cycle anyway, and it's a very specific, basically animation cycle for when it is good to throw the balls. But because I did Clefairy first, I had to switch the Great Ball to catch it effectively, and it gave it time to jump and whatnot, whereas otherwise I could just throw it immediately if I had the Great Ball ready. So here's our Beedrill evolution. And yeah, until our community friend Anubis, who is a Pokemon wizard, she just knows like everything about Pokemon. before we were blessed with the knowledge. We also didn't know that the second ball actually does matter in catches because the game lies to you. If you use a great ball and a Pokeball, it doesn't actually like change the circle color compared to a great ball and a great ball. So we thought it didn't impact the catch rate, but it does. Very much so. So most effectively, you're gonna see me use 2 great balls later. And then later on, you'll see me use Ultra Ball and a great ball. Speedrun, this will give me Butterfree. And we're in a pretty good spot right now. The only thing left to catch here really is Paris. But I do want to see, because my experience is fine, but not great. And you're noticing here too, so what I was talking about earlier with like level ups. Again, each level up is time loss. Sometimes learn moves too, which is additional time loss. But that doesn't mean you also want to deposit every time somebody's done evolving. Like I could have deposited that Beedrill before I did that catch, right? And I would have avoided that level up, but each deposit is also time loss. So it's a really tricky balancing act of knowing when to deposit and when to keep things. And it takes a lot of time to kind of build up that intuition and also just burning the numbers in your brain for like how much time each action takes. So like now is a pretty good time to deposit because everything's done evolving. I'm going to keep Bellsprout for a lot of reasons, which I'll go into later. I'm going to shake away the player, and I will go ahead and deposit as soon as I see... actually, if I see Paris... Okay, there's Paris. I was going to say, if I see Paris, I might as well catch it first in this scenario. I also could have tried to one-controller it, but it's a little bit risky. It might break out. Rush that catch. Excellent obviously would have given more experience there, but great is literally just faster, and my experience is okay once I get this catch. If it attacked there and stopped my catch, I would have actually gotten less experience on the second catch, or the second throw, because there is also a bonus for your experience, where if you catch it with the first ball, you just get more experience. So in that case, I would have waited for an excellent. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and deposit. You also see there another benefit for me waiting to deposit is that Paris went straight to the box, so I don't have to deposit it like this. So additional time save by doing that. I would love to see Chansey here. I'm a big Chansey fan. I'm probably like the most ardent, like, or at least I was the most ardent like Chansey believer before everyone else slowly bought into Chansey too. A lot of people, we used to fear Chansey. We used to see Chansey and run from it and be like, no, I don't want to catch that because it's going to break out and end my run. But we have changed. We have evolved since then. We have learned that Chansey is very good because it gives a ton of experience, and experience is really good, especially mid-game and even early game too, but especially mid-game because you can just save so much time in battles with just being higher level. But I would love a Chansey here. I will definitely catch it. There's Meowth, by the way. If you didn't notice, Jesse and James are here from the anime. They're also in Pokemon Yellow. There's the connection. Meowth doesn't talk here either. I know, it's very disappointing. Zubat's another good example of a Mon that we could catch now. If we catch it in Rock Tunnel, it levels up one time and then evolves. So it's just more efficient to get 2 for 1 instead of basically just one catch. There's also Geodude, which I did catch now, when I could also catch in Rock Tunnel and then do the same thing. But the difference is that Geodude, I can also catch Graveler in Rock Tunnel, and it's not an annoying catch like Goldat, and it gives a ton of experience. So I want to catch both Geodude and Graveler separately for experience reasons. Geodude, I want that experience early game, and then mid game, I want that meaty Graveler experience. That's what I'm talking about with Pokemon just spawning on top of you. Sometimes you can react to it in time, sometimes you can't. It is what it is. Couple more fights here. If there's any Helix Fossil fans, let it be known in the chat. Otherwise, I'll grab the Dome Fossil. And it will actually matter in this run because this category is one where I will actually revive the Fossil. For a very specific reason, which I'll go into later. And there's our Fossil-y friends. See them in a little bit. First, we got to beat up this super nerd. Some things to note, being a Gen 7 remake of Gen 1 is that while it is missing a lot of those modern combat mechanics that I talked about earlier, like abilities, typing and stuff is all the same. And there is updated type charts and moves, so like fairy moves exist that are in this game. I'm going to learn... I'm not going to learn one, but you can learn one. And then Magnemite is Steel type, unlike the original Gen 1 games. So I'm going to double kick it. Now I am not going to kill it. And I'm confused. Uh-oh. I love RNG. Okay. Something that might come up later in the run is a fun damage formula fact is if your Pokemon's level ends in 0, 3, 5, or 8, you get a damage boost. So if I was level 15 there, even with the extra stats aside, I would have just done more damage and gotten the one shot. So I got the Helix Fossil. I saw pretty equal... Actually, no, I definitely saw more Praisits than Dome... I don't know if there's a funny... I don't know. Equivalent for Dome Fossils, but... It's okay. This is Jesse and James anyway. We're going to see them a lot in this run. Sometimes they're extremely annoying and sometimes they're just whatever. This time they can be annoying. So they're always forced 2v2 battles. It's just me playing on one controller for both of them though. I'm going to use an X attack on my Eevee with my Bellsprout turn, which you can do in double battles. And that's what you're going to see a lot for like the 2v1 battles too. I'm going to go for this. This is probably not going to KO, but I will try anyway. That's not even close. Okay. But that works out pretty well. And I'm also going to take advantage of this opportunity to go ahead and heal up Eevee, which I was probably going to do anyway, so this works out. And that Coughing can use Poison Gas. It's incredibly annoying. Dome, Sweet Dome, Doug Dimmadome, big... Oh, there you go. Doug Dimmadomers. Where you at? And now it is time for the next gym. Misty's coming up here. She also has a gym requirement where you have to be level 15 in order to enter her gym. So I'm just going to show her my Eevee. Which, did it hit 15? I'm going to have to check. Hopefully I have something to catch here to confirm. I don't... Did I might be like a smidge short. Because I was really low, 14 earlier. Okay, Snake fixes it, so I don't have to think about it at all. If I'm not 15, I will hit 15 here. Seconds is level 9. This is another tricky decision-making thing is like, sometimes it makes sense to deposit this extra mon here. Sometimes it makes sense to keep it. It being level 9 instead of like level 7, I'm just going to keep it here. And then deposit it later. Because if I catch something later before I do my next deposit, like Venonat or Meowth on the route up north, then I would effectively be forced to do 2 deposits instead of 1. And that is slower. And now we're going to go learn the really busted moves. So I was talking about earlier how we can get a taste of all the evolutions even though we can't evolve. I'm going to learn a water move, an electric move, and a fire move. So make sure I teach these to the right slots. All these moves are incredibly broken. They're really, really good. They're all 90 base power. For reference, Headbutt is 70 base power. And they all have really broken side effects. So, for example, Sizzly Slide always burns your opponent. Buzzy Buzz always paralyzes your opponent, and Bouncy Bubble heals back half the damage you did. They are very, very powerful, and they're going to help carry this Eevee that would probably suck really badly otherwise. Let's go show Misty our Eevee. There's one more there's one more move we're going to learn later, but there is one for every type of evolution. So like a grass one, an ice one, etc. And Misty's a pretty straightforward fight. We're going to use our X special and then use our newly found powers of electricity to win the fight. We take advantage of the fact that because Buzzy Buzz always paralyzes, that means that while her Starmie's going to outspeed us turn 1, on turn 2 it'll be paralyzed and we're going to outspeed it because paralysis lowers your opponent's speed. So normally what would be an incredibly terrifying fight that would destroy us most of the time becomes totally fine and manageable. The worst thing that can happen is getting burned by Scald. Scald is in this game. It is still really annoying. It's a very powerful move. 30% to burn us, and we're just not going to see it. We're just going to get lucky. Her Starmie can also use Psywave, which is a much nicer move that does not burn. So ideally we see that. So again, boosting my special attack stat significantly. Worth noting that Buzzy Buzz and Bouncy Bubble, our water and electric moves, are both special attacking moves, and then Sizzly Slide is a physical move, for anyone curious. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the arts. I got Psywave. That is really rare, by the way. I was talking about it. It is incredibly rare and really good because I just took way less damage than you normally would here. But yeah, I love the art style of these games. I wish all Pokemon games looked like this. Big fan. Sad they didn't make another one in this art style. But that's our second gym badge, chat. We're 2/8 of the way there. Quick question for... Okay, no spoilers for anyone who's seen the run before, but what do you think our next gym badge is going to be? I'll give you a hint. It's not Lieutenant Surge. I am leveling Bellsprout. Thank you for reminding me, because I mentioned I was going to talk about it, and then I didn't talk about it. One more rival battle here really quickly. Very straightforward as well. I'm just using super effective moves and my strongest move available. Bellsprout's a really weird mon that you wouldn't think would make sense to level up here. In Pikachu version, you level up Oddish instead of Bellsprout and keep it with you because you actually use Oddish in a lot of fights. But I don't use Bellsprout basically at all. And the reason for that, even though I could technically catch a Weeping Bell later and skip out all these extra levels, is that even though I'm technically leveling up a Bellsprout from level 7 or 9 all the way up to 21 to evolve it, and each level up again is time loss, it's actually worth it. Which is silly, because having the second Pokemon in my party at all times means that I can do all my catches for the run except for some water ones later as 2-controller. And 2-controller is way more optimal. So I'm basically saving multiple seconds on each catch that I would normally do 1-controller if I didn't keep the Bellsprout in my party. And on top of that, I'm getting an evolution, which is basically the fastest type of Pokedex entry you can get. And catches are just safer and faster. All right, a lot of good guesses in the chat. My next gym badge is actually going to be Blaine. So the gym badge order is 1, 2, and then 7. You're not going to fight a gym leader for the next hour and 20 minutes. Yay. So what does that mean we're doing for the next hour and 20 minutes? That means we are basically doing everything except for the gym leaders. This game did some fun changes to Gen 1. So HMs do exist in this game, but they're not called HMs. They're called secret techniques. And instead of teaching Cut to my Pokemon in order to use Cut outside of battle to progress in the game, I instead have my Eevee use a secret technique cut, which doesn't use a move slot, and can advance that way. So, because of that, the gym leaders don't lock down your HMs or your secret techniques in this case. And that means you don't have to beat any gym leaders basically until you're trying to beat the game. So the most efficient way to do this is to put off Koga for as long as possible because he is our gym leader that does have that 50 Pokemon catch requirement. But we also want to put off the other gym leaders because some of them are kind of hard. Our Eevee, while having these broken moves, isn't really that good. As the game goes on, Eevee having these really powerful moves and really high boosted stats kind of gets worse and worse over the course of the run. It just gets less and less effective. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to put off all gym leaders until we get our new main Pokemon that we're going to use for the rest of the run. So that's the main reason why we delay things, but also, again, just pushing off Koga as far as possible. Koga will be our second to last gym leader. Our last one being Giovanni because you can't challenge Giovanni until you do all other 7 gym leaders. So we're going to be having fun. We're going to be doing the story. We're going to be progressing and unlocking basically everything we can until we get to Blaine. And then from that point, we sweep all the gym leaders. And it's so interesting that this game is like the length it is and the way it is. So for reference, Pokemon Yellow is a little under 2 hours for the speedrun for 80% glitchless. This run, world record is for any percent, it's a 257, I believe. Yeah, 257 something. I can't remember. I think it's 257.01. So even though I'm catching a whole 50 Pokemon, it's still only an hour slower, which is kind of surprising. And not that bad in the grand scheme of things. And again, the catch requirement is what makes this entire run interesting and cool, because if this was just Gen 1 game with simpler battles, nobody would really run this game. It would be very few people running it in general instead of one of the most popular Switch Pokemon speedruns. And the catch requirement just adds so much kind of dynamicness to the run, adds so much thinking, interesting. Every run is different, basically, which is not the case with any other Pokemon speedrun except for Fire Leaf Green E4 Round 2, which is very similar to this run where you also have to catch a bunch of Pokemon. And again, it's what makes this run the closest run to a randomizer, which is why I'm a big fan of it. I love it so much. Everyone should run this game. If you're getting bored of speedrunning, this is the game for you because sometimes it doesn't even feel like a speedrun. Sometimes it just feels like a rando playthrough. So I can get Meowth or Venonat here, or both. And we did get the Meowth, so I'm going to go get that. Meowth's a cool Pokemon, and I can use this for a fight later. Please stop jumping. Yeah, we'll see Meowth later. Meowth will make an appearance at a very special point in the run for a very situational strat that I will do. That I never get to do, but it'll be fun. Yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier. I could have deposited the Ekans and avoided 2 level ups, but now I skip an entire extra deposit because I'm just going to deposit Meowth and Ekans at the same time in my next menu later. I'm going to do a fun little skip here. Normally you'd have to go around there, but some of the trainers' visions are very weird, like you just saw there too. A lot of movement in this game revolves around really taking advantage of how weird trainer vision is. You kind of think of it like, imagine each trainer just has like a laser coming out of their forehead and that is their vision. It's a very thin and fine line where if you just pass it, if your character is in their vision at any point in time, then you fight them. Otherwise, you just go past them. And sometimes their lines don't go all the way to like the wall. Sometimes they're pretty short. And because it is like a thin line, sometimes you kind of snake around them. You'll see that more later too. And I guess I can talk about it now. This is any percent. This is not the most popular category of the game called any percent no mount skips, or NMS. This means I do a thing called mount skips later, which I'll talk a lot more in detail as we go on. We're not going to do them until the very end of the run, basically at Victory Road. But the most important thing to know is this run is essentially a glitch category. Glitch exploit, I don't know what you want to call it, where I basically take advantage of trainers having that very thin laser line vision, and I use Aerodactyl to just skip that line, basically. And I'm going to skip a bunch of trainers in late game using Aerodactyl, and I'll talk more about how it works later. It is very funky, very weird, and it is basically like one of the very, like, basically between Gen 5 and Gen 8, it is like the only useful like glitch in a Pokemon speedrun, excluding BDSP. Because the Game Freak didn't make that, so it doesn't count. So we have saved Bill here from being in Nidorino forever. He gave us tickets to the SS Hand, so we're going to get out of here. And we are now done with Cerulean. So just an update on the catch situation so far. Did I mark Meowth? Let's see. Look at it. Where's Meowth on my tracker that none of you can see? There it is. Okay, so I'm at 15 Pokemon so far. Out of the 50 required in order to beat the game again. 50 Pokemon in order to enter Koga's Gym. Whole run revolves around that. So I'm at 15 so far, which is pretty normal for this point. It's a little high, if anything. 14 is like average and kind of what you're usually expecting to get at this point. So in general, more catches is good, unless they're catches that you would prefer to get later. In general, early catches just mean you save more time later. If you ever looked at somebody do a speedrun of Let's Go and you see the splits side by side with their game, you know that the splits are meaningless because I can be like plus 7 minutes in a split and it's actually the best run of my entire life. Because eventually, once you get to the point where you hit 50 Pokemon, your splits will normalize. Because you can get extra Pokemon in one split and then as a result get less Pokemon in another split later. It's very funny and hard to explain to viewers all the time. But you won't have that problem, chat, because you can't see the splits right now, so it's all good. So we're heading south now. We got another cutscene with our rival. He's going to give us some free revives, which is really nice of him. Free marathon safety, big fan of that. And I guess while we do this, probably I'll talk about my world record run for any percent amount skips. Just to kind of highlight the absurdity of experience in this game. So I mentioned before there's this thing called supersized Pokemon, where certain glowing Pokemon have a 10% chance, or glowing Pokemon have a 10% chance to be super big or super tiny, and they give you way more experience if they are. And Chansey already gives you a lot of experience. So in the world record run, on the next route, I saw a glowing Chansey, I catch it, and I gain, my Eevee goes from like level 17 to level 25. I'm literally in the level up menu for like 2 minutes or something. And normally that's pretty bad because I also got a ton of extraneous levels on like my Jigglypuff. But being so high level so early means that I just one-shot everything for the next 40 minutes, which matters so much in this game. And I was like a 0.1% scenario, or 0.01% scenario, right? And there's a lot of weird things that can happen with experience in this run due to the existence of supersized Pokemon. It's really weird and adds a lot of excitement, I guess, on a run-to-run basis. So I'm gonna use another lure here. All right, here I'm trying to catch Jigglypuff and Vulpix. I could catch a Pidgey here, and then, like I said earlier, I would just evolve it one time and then cut out Pidgeot entirely from my tracker. If I don't see Abra or Vulpix or Jigglypuff, I will probably do so, just to get more experience. So I want to be at least level 18, ideally 19 for this next part. Oh, I didn't see it. I saw something in the corner of my screen earlier, but I wasn't sure where it was. All my strategies for catching all these Pokemon are very precise and planned out. So I have plans basically for every Pokemon and how I approach catching them. It is very specific and very, it takes a lot of practice to like get used to. Now, most of the catches actually do just boil down to throw the ball as fast as possible, but you need to have backups for that too, for when they don't. And just knowing like timings. So for example, if a Pokemon attacks, knowing where their circle will be as soon as they finish the attack is really good. I didn't mean to dismiss there, but okay. I could get Psyduck here. I'm not going to. I'm going to get this Vulpix instead. Yeah, just knowing timings and stuff is a big differentiator between like different levels of runner and skill level. So there, I knew where the circle would be. I know I didn't need an excellent because my experience is good now. I knew this was glowing. So a great is just faster, so I just threw it as soon as I could, as soon as I finished attacking. That was a supersized Pokemon. So if I got excellent there, I would have gotten even more experience. But it didn't. I didn't, and this is actually perfectly fine. Like, this is still a really good experience right now. And it also means Jigglypuff didn't get a whole extra level too, which I would have gotten if I hit the excellent. We're now at 17 Pokemon. Very exciting. Hard trainer pass here. Let's see if I can get it. I don't know how I got that. I thought I'd hit the left trainer there. But yeah, you have to walk very precisely between those two trainers in order to not get owned and not be seen by them. So I'm gonna not sell the Helix Fossil, which you would normally do. Yeah, so it's super tiny, basically. Gonna get a bunch more Great Balls and a myriad of other useful items. Gonna get a stack of Super Potions. Some more X items, specifically X attacks. Very good, very useful. Should probably get 2 Repels, but I'm gonna be greedy. Get some escape ropes to escape some places later. Paralyze heals for safety. 14x special attacks. And then a guard spec. A guard spec is similar to X items, except instead of boosting a stat, it just lets you, or prevents your opponent from messing with your stats for 5 turns. Which will be very useful in some later fights, specifically one fight. We used to use more guard specs in this run, but strats changed over time. So you'll see it be used in a couple fights here. Yeah, the sad thing with like super size and super big Pokemon in this game is the size change doesn't really reflect in the overworld the way it does in like Pokemon Legends Arceus, where you can actually see what a super tiny Pokemon looks like. I would love to just catch the world's tiniest Vulpix. All right, I got the perfect movement there. If you enter that cutscene at a very specific angle, you cut out 2 different turn animations. It's very stupid and very niche, but it does save like 2 seconds. Really hard to get to. I only get it maybe like 10% of the time. So there's Blue again. Bye, Blue. Instead, we're going to fight our rival here. So here's actually one of the first fights we're going to do the 2v1 thing I talked about. And you're going to see the general strategy is literally use your second player, your second Pokemon, just to boost up your main Pokemon. Because it turns out that is a very effective strat for beating the game. And normally in a lot of Pokemon games, you have to waste your own like precious turns to boost your stats with X items, but by doing it 2 controllers, you're not wasting any turns, you're not giving your opponent any chance to hit you, which is really nice and really useful. And again, if you're wondering why I would do this for every fight, it's because it is usually slower. One reason why it's better here is because the alternative would be using a guard spec and then X speeding and then, or not X speeding, sometimes you get X speed, but it'd be using a guard spec and then using X items and then healing potentially and then attacking, which is slower than just doing the 2 controllers thing. I'm gonna headbutt here. Got quick attack, no big deal, even with the crit. And now with my boosted attack and special attack, I can just sweep the rest of this team. Team on headbutt now. This is a slide. Don't need to heal or do anything here. Just gonna spam and mash. Once your second player is like done setting up, you usually just mash A with them. Or you take the opportunity to heal, which you'll see a lot later too. That is the other useful function of your second player is healing your main Pokemon. Really, you're mostly using it to just use items. Turns out items in battle are pretty good, pretty broken. And now, going to get our first secret technique, aka HM01, aka cut. It's actually called secret technique chop down in this game. And again, it's not tied to gym badges at all, so I do not have to fight any gym leaders to use it outside of battle. I think Misty's the one that technically gives you the ability to use cut. But that's irrelevant. I would be able to use it regardless here. And now we're done with the SSN. And we're about to get into one of the gnarliest reset points of the game pretty soon here. And it's not because of difficult battles, although sometimes it is, especially on Pika version. Sometimes you just get randomly trolled by the battles on Route 9. But more importantly, we're going to be catching a lot of Pokemon soon. And sometimes the Pokemon are mean to you, and sometimes they don't spawn, and if they're either mean to you or they don't spawn or both, then you lose a lot of time. One of the biggest things is you need to catch a Rhyhorn in Eevee version, or you lose a lot of time. So a lot of runs die in Rock Tunnel to not catching a Rhyhorn. Many of my runs have died that way. Pikachu has a backup where you can get an Arcanine and use that, at least. And I'll explain why you need Rhyhorn or Arcanine later. Alright, so we got the second pass done safely. Got through the grass there, and then we run back. We're going to go all the way back up to Cerulean so we can go east. Now that we have Chop Down. And enter Rock Tunnel. So you saw me pick up a Moonstone and Mount Moon. Mountstone and Moon Mount. I got the Moonstone because it lets me evolve this Jigglypuff very easily. Jigglypuff is the most efficient Mon to evolve because it does not try to learn a move on evolution unlike every other Moonstone Pokemon. There are routes that involve using a Moonstone on Nidoking, especially Pikachu version always does that. Eevee, it's situational. Because you can use the Nidoking as like a support fighter in a lot of fights, but we're not going to be doing that today. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. And then I'm going to pop my Lure and then deposit both the Wigglytuff and the Vulpix. Vulpix I can evolve later into a Ninetales. I can also just catch a Ninetales later if I get an incredibly rare spawn. There's a lot of different types of like evolutions and catches in this game that you got to think about when you're trying to speedrun this at the highest level possible. Like knowing which Pokemon learn moves on the evolution, which ones don't, is annoyingly difficult. And takes time to just like memorize. Just trying to figure out like which catches are best in which situations is something that you build up over time and takes a while to get used to. Yeah, so both categories or both versions are split on the leaderboards because they're pretty different runs, even though the skeleton is the same. The first 2 hours for both runs are pretty different in terms of how the fights go. Gonna go and use the guard spec here because this Eevee can lower our defense, our accuracy, and our attack all in one. So I'm just gonna say no to that. Right now, Eevee version has world record in both any percent and no mount skips. But I do think the run is worse than Pikachu version. I've been trying to get a better Pikachu time than an Eevee time for a while. Unfortunately, the game has been mean to me, but one day I'll fix it. Oh, my radiance is aside. I personally find the Pikachu version much more fun to run. There are some more annoying points, like, for example, you have to basically catch a Growlithe or an Abra before this route, otherwise you lose a lot of time. So it means a lot more resets there, but I generally find the rest of it more consistent outside of that, so I like it more. Eevee, I think, generally is just better top end, though, but only in the scenario where you get a ton of experience, the way I like world record any percent no mount skips does. Someone in chat mentioning Professor Oak's challenge. This is one of the best games to do it, and you can speedrun it in like under 10 hours because it's actually pretty reasonable in this game. Because it has modern Pokemon mechanics of like catching Pokemon equals experience, and there's not that many Pokemon. I know Etiquette's done a run, probably multiple runs at this point. I have not tried it yet. It scares me. Gonna Sizzly Slide here. Normally go for Buzzy Buzz, but sometimes you get... actually, my speed was good there, so I guess I should just headbutt again and then Sizzly Slide. Yeah, that would have been better. Something you don't normally outspeed there. It's very situational. So we're gonna go ahead and finish up this catching section, and then right before we enter Rock Tunnel, we'll take our first break of the night. But I mean, there's so many things I want to catch here, and hopefully the game is nice to me. The most important thing is I just need to get as many. I just need to not see multiple Furos. So I'm looking for Spearow here. I'm looking for Nidoran male, Nidoran female, Krabby, Raticate. All of those would be awesome. Multiple Furos, not awesome. I do have a trick to get rid of Pokemon, though. I actually have two tricks here. One trick is using a Repel and then using a Lure immediately right after. Repel removes all encounters, and then you just Lure again to remove the Repel. I can also just enter the next fight. Okay, that works. If I enter the next fight, it also clears all the encounters, but then I have to run back, which is kind of annoying. I'm going to take this safe and go in and use the Raspberry. This basically guarantees the catch as long as I hit the Excellent. We haven't talked too much about berries. All you need to know is if I use a Raspberry, it boosts the catch rate by like 12%-ish. It's very situational, but yeah. If I use a Nanab berry, the Pokemon stops moving and the circles will slow down most of the time, not always. It's really weird. The other berries aren't really relevant. And I will also use a Silver Raspberry sometimes, which is basically just a better Raspberry. You'll see that mostly at the very end of like the catching section. So we're going to get our Weaving evolution here. And now it's going to be pretty good to deposit fairly soon. Basically, once I'm done with this catching section, as I'm entering Rock Tunnel will probably be the right time to do so. A lot of the timings for when you deposit are fairly static in the sense that like you always approximately do a deposit around the time you enter Rock Tunnel. You always approximately do one as you're leaving Mount Moon. But the exact timings is always very flexible and very tricky to get down. There's a Nidoran male, so this is actually good enough to leave with. Like, I'm happy with this. I can deal with not having Krabby or Nidoran female here. Cool. I love frame 1 attacks. Frame -1 attacks. That was awesome. So Nidoran female could still spawn here. If it does, cool. Doing Krabby, but not a big deal otherwise. I'm just going to go ahead and run. And as I'm running, I'm going to do a... Okay, well, there's an evolution. After the evolution, as I run to the next encounter, I'll do a countdown for our break. So, catch count update. We're at 23 Pokemon, almost halfway towards our 50 Pokemon requirement. I did, in fact, keep our fossil, so we will see an Omanite eventually, I promise. Alright, as I'm walking here, unless another Pokemon spawns, I will count it down into the break. Alright, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pause. Okay, there. I was like, I thought I could time that correctly. So, at Hotfix, we'll like to take a couple breaks throughout the run, just to give everyone a chance to stretch, get some water, do what you gotta do, including the runner, me. So, some announcements before we go to break. One is that registration is live for Awesome Games Done Quick 2024. If you'd like to attend the event in person, I saw someone in chat mentioning that they're able to attend now. It's awesome. From January 14th to the 21st, the second submission period is also... Or if you'd like to attend the event in person from January 14th to the 21st, check out the website, gamesofquick.com. The second submission period is also open until tonight. I don't think they're closed yet, so if you're interested in submitting a game that has come out recently, go check that out ASAP. And then also Frost of Tales has its next event Frame Fatales is the next event. Frost Fatales, coming up March 3rd through the 10th of next year. Use !FF in Twitch chat or go to gamesandquick.com/framefatales for more info. And we'll be back in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. Hello and welcome back, everybody, to the GDQ Hotfix. I'm your host and runner this evening, Etchy. I'm going to count right back into the run and get to it. 3, 2, 1, go. So this is actually a new cutscene that is not in the original Pokemon Yellow/Red/Blue. We are suddenly ambushed by Team Rocket trying to enter Rock Tunnel here. And, this looks scary, except Elite Four member Lorelei is here to save us on a Lapras. Surprise. You'd think this would be like a true double moment, like in, say, Pokemon Emerald, where you team up with Steven to battle someone, or you team up with Lance in Gen 2. But Lorelei basically just takes out another Pokemon, takes out the other 3 for you, and then you just deal with this one that has Eradicate. So we're going to do that. This Eradicate's really easy to deal with compared to the last one because we are higher level now. Thanks to us catching all those Pokemon. Again, I'm at 23 Pokemon right now. I'm going to be entering Rock Tunnel with that count. And I will go ahead and do some menuing pretty soon. I'll try to delay it if possible, again, just to minimize the amount of total depositing I do. But it kind of just depends on what I see when I enter Rock Tunnel. There's a lot of things I'm trying to see in Rock Tunnel. I want to get a Graveler, I want to get a Machop, a Cubone, a Rhyhorn. I don't really want to get an Onix because it will break out and crush my dreams. Same with Kangaskhan. Very scary Pokemon to catch. Same with Charmander, honestly. Charmander's scary, but I will catch one if it appears because I know chat will be mad at me if I don't. So, one of the big reasons we need Rhyhorn, which I have now avoided talking about completely so far, is if you notice, I didn't go back and get the bike voucher and get a bike the way you do in normal Pokemon games, normal Gen 1 based games, and that's because there is no bikes in this game. Instead, you ride Pokemon. This is a really good setup. I'll probably deposit right after this Cubone. You can ride certain Pokemon in the game, and they are faster than walking. Not all of them, but most of them are. And the earliest thing I can get, that is also not a complete pain in the butt to get, is Rhyhorn. It is a decent bit faster than walking, so I want to get one as soon as possible here. This Cubone will evolve into a Marowak in 4 levels, so it is a 2-for-1. And this is a great time to deposit. Actually, 2 useless levels, but I get the Nidoran evolution. No, I go ahead and I catch Graveler now, and then I deposit. Oh, Machop. Ooh, that works still, though, too. I'll deposit after this. And again, because my party is full, this Graveler goes straight to the box, which also saves me more time. Raspberry here basically guarantees the catch as well, brings it up to like a 99-point-something%. I say basically guarantees because no catch in this game is guaranteed unless you use a Master Ball because of a programming error similar to Gen 1 games, so it is kind of a true remake in that regard too. But basically, a greater than sign was used instead of a greater than equal sign, or less than, I don't remember which one it is. So there's every single shake of the ball, there's like a calculation done. And each shake has a 1 in 65, 36 chance of failing. So if it fails that, it'll just randomly break out. We do have a recorded instance of this happening after we learned about this sometime last year. Happened a couple months ago to Runner Joker Sleeps, because it probably has happened before, but it's hard to know unless you know it's a guaranteed catch, and that was one we know. It was like a Spearow. We knew it was a guaranteed catch. And it broke out. It's supposed to be a guaranteed catch. So very funny, but also very unfortunate. And yeah, so kind of more details. So yeah, so let me catch this first. When I do the 2 controller catches, I slide the other Joy-Con into the grip. That way, when I do the motion controls, they're synced together, and I don't have to worry about like matching speeds with 2 arms or whatever. You don't need to use the grip. Some runners don't use it. But I like just sliding the second one in and out as I need it. It's pretty easy. And that's a lot of our catches done already. Again, no Rhyhorn, which is, again, just the most important thing. But It is okay. We will get one. This is still early in Rock Tunnel. We have so much time. It'll be fine. We'll get it. There's also Zubat. There's another mon I want to catch here. That one is pretty common, so I have no... I have no doubt that it'll show up. These Onyxes, again, terrifying. You don't want to catch them. If you ever see me catch one in a run before I get Ultra Balls, it's because I am annoyed that it ran into me and I am desperate. And then the run usually dies 20 seconds after I run into the Onyx. This Kangaskhan's kind of scary. It usually leads with Fake Out, so I'm going to go ahead and use an X attack. Because I can't attack when I use Fake Out, it flinches you automatically. Let's see, I am plus defense, so I'm just going to go ahead and headbutt here, try to get a flinch. Normally use Sizzly Slide for the burn, because then the burn means they do half as much physical damage. But this works out pretty well. Didn't get the flinch, but my defense is so high that it didn't matter. I'm still at great HP for the next fight. Onyx, I swear if you touch me, I'll be very sad. Don't do it. Okay. Well, I would like any Pokemon to spawn, though, at least. Please, game. We haven't talked too much about how spinners work in this game. You saw that hiker spin. That's called a spinner. All you need to know is that they can't see you while they're spinning, but they can see you while they're standing still. So just be careful. More Geodudes. I would still really like to see a Rhyhorn. Again, if I don't get a Rhyhorn, it's not the end of the world. There are backup strats. It just loses me like a minute, which is not ideal. There's two strats here. You can either Sizzly Slide for the burn thing that I was talking about, or you can just say, no, you can hit me at full strength and heal instead, which is what I did there. So I used Bounce Bubble to heal up a bit just to survive the Brick Break. The benefit of this is that I just have more HP now. And also, another fun quirk of the battle system in this game, and actually a case in a lot of later gen Pokemon games, this thing called status lag. So if a Pokemon is statused and there's like animations trying to complete while you do that, the game will like hold up until the animation finishes for the status before proceeding. So like if my opponent is paralyzed and I select the move, sometimes the game will like hold for 2 seconds to play the paralysis animation before letting me continue, before continuing the battle, which is really slow and not what you want to see ever. So if you can avoid statusing things, it's really good. Unfortunately, Eevee version naturally statuses a lot of things because of the nature of Sizzly Slide and Buzzy Buzz, always putting a status on. One of the very annoying downsides of Eevee version for sure. Okay, I did not get burned there. If you get burned there, it's really bad because then your physical attack is halved. Decreased? Halved? I don't remember. It gets decreased. And as a result, this Kadabra can just like totally destroy you if you're not careful. So usually if you get burned there, you have to just summon your second controller. That Psybeam can also confuse you, which is really, really awesome and cool. I've definitely lost so many runs to this fight. Way more than any person should. Is that... I thought that was a Rhyhorn. Please move, thank you. I might not be getting a Rhyhorn chat. Bunch of cube. Oh, okay. Clutch. I didn't doubt it for a second. I messed that up. I have time, so I can do this. No, I cannot do it. Yeah, bad timing. For some reason, my brain was like, I gotta mash B as I enter this fight because there's a tutorial. There's no tutorial. I have not gotten an in-battle tutorial since Mount Moon. I don't know why my brain would said that. But Rhyhorn, yay! I'm gonna ride the Rhyhorn. Rhyhorn. We are saved. There's a very tight catch time I do for this normally, but wasn't able to get it. Dismiss the trainer and do the battle. So my HP is not super high right now, but we're going to take advantage of the bouncy bubble here in order to heal up and be at a good HP for the next fight, which is a little scary sometimes. But we'll be totally fine with our buddy Rhyhorn. I do need to put Rhyhorn in slot 2, forgot to do that. This thing can fake you out sometimes, so you pretty much should always just use an X item that turn anyway. Normally we switch to Rapidash as our ride Pokemon later in the run, but because this is any percent and not any percent no mount skips, I'm actually going to be using an Aerodactyl as a ride Pokemon, which is incredibly funny because he is huge and also very fast. Big Aerodactyl fan. So that's Rock Tunnel. We're through one of the worst catching gauntlets in the run, and now we kind of just do fights for a while. May or may not catch a couple Pokemon, but the bulk of the catching is done at this point. A lot of it remaining is like evolutions and a couple stuff later in the game. I actually did not get Zubat, which is really weird and abnormal to not see a single one in Rock Tunnel. But I actually do have a chance to get one later. I can see one in this building. Not right now, but after I get the Silph Scope. So I need to swap in Rhyhorn. Rhyhorn pretty key for this next fight because it has Drill Run, which is a very powerful ground type move. You actually use it in Pika version as well to deal with Jesse and James later, but we're not going to use it for that in this version. But really good in this fight to help you just randomly deal with Raichu. So 2v1 again. Again, the old strat for this used to just be like one controller, guard spec, X speed, etc., but we learned the glory of Rhyhorn. Basically, I was just messing around with like Houts and stuff, and I figured out that like, even though when you do 2v1, your opponent can be random with what order they send things out in, it's predictable to some degree, but there's still some randomness. If you use Rhyhorn and actually take advantage of Drill Run, you will always be able to win the fight in 3 turns. As long as you don't miss Drill Run. So just don't miss. Easy. Because I did get Gloom first, I can actually do the safe strat here. But I'm going to use the Drill Run because I've been talking about it for the last 2 minutes. Drill Run's 95% to hit, so just don't miss. Bouncy Ball is nice here because this thing outspeeds, so if it hits you, you can just heal up whatever it did. That was a crit. And there's a Drill Run. That is the only Drill Run I will have to rely on in this run. Hopefully, I might end up using one later, but only in like an emergency situation. For the most part, your moves are very accurate in this run. That's actually the most inaccurate move we're going to use because I'm actually not going to be teaching Hydro Pump to our next main Pokemon later. You normally do in any percent no mount skips, but this run you don't need to. And again, for anyone who's coming in late explaining the mount skips thing, it's not going to be relevant for the next hour, pretty much. But later on, I'm going to skip some trainers using this thing called the mount skip. Can only do it very, very late into the run, unfortunately. All right, so we can't actually progress in the tower here until we get our Silph Scope. So we're going to go ahead and go to Celadon City. Again, the plot is very much the same as the normal older Pokemon games. Nothing's really changed except for these added Jesse and James cutscenes and the occasional bonus battle. So we're still going to the hideout. We're still going to fight Giovanni. You actually do a little gauntlet at the end of hideout. Quite a bit scarier than the older games, where Giovanni's kind of a joke there. In fact, this is like one of the hardest parts of the run because we aren't fighting the gym leaders and not taking the scenic route anywhere. The levels actually spike up pretty hard, pretty fast here, and we're actually just going to be under-leveled for the rest of this run until we get our next main Pokemon. This is the only time I'm going to get metronome in the run, and I might flinch and avoid it. So hopefully I don't get anything really weird. Please be normal. Thrash is okay. I've gone basically every move possible at this point from this Clefairy. I've seen it try to use a one-hit KO move like Horn Drill. I don't think I ever died to that, but I have died to Self-Destruct several times now. I don't need to go in there, so I'm going to go around. There's a Firestone in there, but I don't need it. I might need to evolve my Vulpix into a Ninetales later, but there's a faster Firestone I can get in the Cinnabar Mansion, so we'll do that then. For some reason, you can't ride your Pokemon down here, even though you can ride your bikes down here in the older games. It's messed up. I can see Abra on this route. Abra's a pretty rare spawn, so you don't really rely on it, but it is really cool to get it. Could technically see Ninetales, it's like a 1%. I found out Ninetales isn't that scary to catch recently because I caught it in a practice run yesterday. Or 2 days ago? Yesterday. Alright, I don't need any of those Pokemon, so we're going to keep going. And here we're going to see the best move in the game. We're going to learn a less cool move, so... I can learn 2 moves here. I can learn Glitzy Glow, or I can learn Batty Bad. Everyone's favorite mood, Batty Bad. Glitzy Glow is a psychic move. Again, super powerful. It sets up Light Screen for your party for 5 turns. Batty Bad, dark type move, physical, less useful. And here, I'm picking the right colors. For anyone who's played other Pokemon generations and knows what the ability Synchronize does, this is essentially that, except in an NPC, because again, there's no abilities in this game. So by doing that and telling the channeler that I want blue and then red, basically telling her that I want only modest Pokemon for the rest of the day. So until the clock rolls over to midnight, all Pokemon I catch for the rest of this run will be modest nature, which is really important because I need my next main Pokemon to be good. And guaranteeing that it's a really good nature is one way to do so. I'm going to X attack here. Oh, no, you're killing me. I should have just Sizzly slided, I guess. I could have done the headbutt bouncy bubble strat, I guess. Yeah. So a lot of these fights, especially in this section, have like 1 to 6 strats you can do depending on like your HP and your stats. Because one thing I didn't talk about that adds more kind of randomness to your stats is the fact that it's kind of unreliable what your stats are, even though you are guaranteed to have base highest stats possible. Let's see, I should heal here. Because of this thing called awakening values, or AVs. Some people who play a lot of Pokemon games are maybe familiar with these things called EVs, or effort values. This is essentially the replacement for that in this game, so you don't get EVs from beating Pokemon the way you do in those other games. Instead, you just get a random +1 to one of your stats every single level up. You can influence where those stats go. Well, you can't, but there are factors that can influence. Why did you confuse me? No, stop. That's really bad. Oh. I'm not healing the confusion. We're just going to power through this. I don't care. Never mind. Now we're healing it. Because a full heal will just heal both anyway here. And I do actually have full heals in the form of the Shaler Sable we got for free. Oh, I thought it was going to confuse again. I was about to be very upset. I'm going to take this opportunity to heal too. Figured to do the 2 controller thing just to guarantee I don't get put to sleep again. Very annoying otherwise. Got punished pretty hard there. I will learn Double Edge here, just to save time on the next fight. Normally you learn Double Edge way earlier. But yeah, AV's just random +1 to one of your stats, anything from HP to speed. And that just means it's really unreliable on what your stats are at any point in time, because maybe you got 25 speed AVs, or maybe you got 25 attack AVs, and your attack is just absolutely out of this world. So it's important while you're doing the run to kind of track how your stats are progressing. Just knowing like approximately what your stats should look like, because you only ever see what actually gets +1 if you level up in battle. If you level up outside of battle, like from a catch, you don't see your stats at all. So just keeping an eye on it and being aware of it, and just knowing how good your stats really are, certain stats really are, is really important, and dictates which of those, like, again, 1 to 6 strats you might be using. Double Edge, really powerful move, 120 power. Does do recoil, but doing damage good. So normally here, like, I wouldn't be able to one-shot this Voltorb, but with Double Edge I can, so good dodge also. Dodge the Sonic Boom. Normally I'd have to set up with like an X attack or something, but that avoids it, so pretty nice. Up next is one of the most annoying Grimers in the world. It has Minimize, which increases its evasion. Can poison you and just waste a lot of time if it gets lucky with those Minimizes, but surely I will not get unlucky in a marathon speedrun on the Games Done Quick channel. Or a showcase speedrun. That would never happen. Ooh, forgot to use the full heal, so all my items shifted. The shopping is very specific in this run to give you... That's the wrong move, but actually it should be fine here, because I crit. No, that's just how much damage that did. How good is my special attack? I should have bounced it bubbled again. I definitely would have one-shot with Glitzy Glove. I was just saying like how important it is to keep track of your stats. I think I've gotten a lot of special attack AVs. You can kind of, if you're playing Eevee version and you check your nature at the beginning of the game, you can also see this thing called the characteristic, which I did actually see in this run now that I remember, and it said Mischievous, which just means you're more likely to get special attack AVs. If it's like likes to thrash about, that means you're more likely to get attack AVs, etc., etc. I say Eevee version because Pika version, you don't typically check your Pokemon summary screen because you level up slightly earlier in the run, which means you can just check your stats and know if you have a good nature by just playing the game and not wasting 5 seconds looking at your stats. So that is generally the plan. This is the one part of the game where we get to play play as our partner Pokemon. This is actually the only time this is going to happen, so enjoy it. Really cool, well-developed section. I love being Eevee, and it's over. Overhearing Jesse and James here. Grabbing the card key for us, though. Thank you, Eevee. We will never become Eevee again. Yeah, don't stand on the soul chair. Very unsafe, not OSHA approved. Gonna grab this rare candy. If you're wondering why I haven't used any of the rare candies yet, it's because we don't really need to for Eevee. And also, it's actually really bad to use our rare candies early because rare candies do this thing where they increase your friendship. And friendship in this game can be incredibly punishing. You're gonna see it at the very end of the run. What a fun and interesting mechanic. I can't wait to see it again. You'll see friendship come up later in the run, but basically if friendship's too high, you lose time. Time lost bad, because we were doing a speed run. So don't lose time. If you take anything from this today, chat, viewer at home, try not to lose time on your speedruns. My HP is a little low here. I should go ahead and heal. My HP was not low, because I double bouncy bubbled, that's why. It was supposed to be low, but I messed up. I'm going to do a strat that's also new as of like a year and a half ago or something. So we used to do this fight pretty differently just by like sacrificing a Pokemon intentionally, but that's slow. Instead, we're going to just not get unlucky. So we're going to Glitzy Glow this Arbok and hopefully not get paralyzed by Glare. Again, I mentioned earlier, Glitzy Glow has the added bonus that it gives you free light screen, you and your entire team. Free light screen for 5 turns. Yeah, perfect. So I do that to establish the light screen and prevent that sludge from doing more damage to me. Do another X special here. Hopefully Rhyhorn doesn't die here because that's slow, but not the end of the world if it does because I'm already set up on my Eevee. Should be favored to hit into my Eevee because of it just doing more damage. Yep. And now we'll one-shot the Weezing. I'll go ahead and heal up the Rhyhorn because it will be used in the next fight. So, no, again, losing it isn't a big deal because it's never going to attack in this section, but it is nice to not faint because fainting loses like 12 seconds because you have to send in another Pokemon too. So I'm going to summon the player there. It's actually a great setup for this like triple gauntlet of fights. All three of these fights are actually really scary. Definitely a big difficulty jump in this game, especially compared to like the older games. Again, in the older games, like Giovanni here is like a complete joke, and he doesn't have all the backup that he does here. This fight's also scary and it'll be terrifying one controller because this Weezing is just built like a brick and hits really hard too. But again, with the magic of Glitzy Glow, you get the free light screen and take a lot less damage. There's Friendship kicking in there. So one thing that activates Friendship is every time you use a super effective move after you hit a certain Friendship threshold, you lose 1 to 2 seconds. Also, using an item to heal like that is another thing that triggers the turn. We call them turnarounds. It's one of the things that triggers it and loses time. We do mostly have control over when we hit that threshold, except sometimes we don't. Because while we do control everything else that gives Friendship, there's one thing we can't control, which is one of the things that gives Friendship is basically every 50 steps, or every certain amount of steps, I don't remember what it is. I think it's 250. There's a 50% chance to gain 1 point of Friendship. So if you just get really lucky by getting a lot of Friendship points from that, you will actually hit your Friendship threshold really early. Your turnaround threshold. Sometimes I don't even get turnarounds until Giovanni. Sometimes I get them 2 fights earlier. So I'm going to go and heal here. I'm going to use these potions just to not burn all my super potions here. I'm going to dismiss this trainer. I'm actually going to take on Giovanni solo with... Again, this is another newer strat. Newer. It's been like a year at this point. It might have been longer. Oh my gosh. I'm getting old. There's some fun strats you can do in this fight. Eke had a strat that was the main strat for a while, which is use Graveler initially to deal with this Persian. You just use 2 X attacks and then self-destruct, and then just Persian goes by. I will be taking advantage of Burn here, so I'm going to start with an X attack. Once again, due to Fake Out. And then I'm going to use Sizzly Slide to burn to reduce the damage that this thing does. Also, the burn damage, pretty useful for helping guarantee the kill here. Hopefully we do get it. See how much less damage that Slash did on the second hit. Drastically reduced. Even though Slash is a high crit chance move, so it's 1 in 8 to crit instead of 1 in 24, the burn also makes crits do half damage. So really, really useful. And a much faster way through the fight. Even if you have to heal the Eevee there, like say double crits you or something under burn, even if you have to heal, it's still faster than the old strat of like 2 controlling the fight. Now we have the Silph Scope. So we can see ghosts now. Ghosts are real. We're going to go back to Lavender Tower and go check on them. And then we get the Pokeflute, and then we're Pokeflute. And then we're basically done with the story progression. There's like one more thing we have to do, and then we can do the gym leader rush that I was talking about almost an hour ago now. I'm going to do a safety strat here of picking up some extra Ultra Balls. I don't actually need them. I'm in a pretty good spot. But Let's not have things go wrong. Let's minimize the chance of things going wrong, because this run loves to have things go very badly when you don't want that to happen. Goodbye, Snorlax doll. I love you. So we're gonna go learn another secret technique here. We're gonna learn Fly. You can activate Fly just by going to the town map. You can also go through, like, if you go through the menu where you see Eevee, you can fly through there. It's called Sky Dash. I'll refer to it as flying. I'm gonna go ahead and fly on over to Lavender. Some people lure here, some people don't. It's kind of just like your call. I don't like doing it anymore because I feel like it barely helps to make these Ghastlies spawn. I don't know why. The spawn rate's like really weird in Lavender Tower. And you also, like, again, I mentioned at the very beginning of the run, lure increases the levels of things. So it basically, if the max level is like 33 and use a lure, then they're always guaranteed to be level 34. And that's usually fine for most of the game, but it's actually pretty bad later. Because it turns out the higher level things are, the harder they are to catch. It's very minor, but it can be a few % difference. So the higher odds of getting Pokemon in the ball, the better. Write that down too. There's our fancy binoculars. And now we can see ghosts. Even without the binoculars, I don't get it. Whatever. Good cycle from that spinner. The only thing I really want to catch here is Ghastly, but again, I didn't get a Zubat earlier. So if we do see Zubat here, that's really, really good. There's a trick there where if you just hug that wall, even if she's facing that way, the Channeler spinner, she still won't see you. So a lot of funny, tricky movement things you can do in this game once you practice them. Take advantage of Glitzy Glow on these. It's another Haunter we have to fight later as well. Again, like I said, I basically have not caught any Pokemon since Rock Tunnel. That will change soon, either here or in the section after. I would like any Pokemon to spawn, at least. Maybe I should have lured solely so I could have an increased odd of seeing Zubat. I do not want to catch Haunter. Both because I'd rather catch Ghastly and then evolve into Haunter because it's faster, and two, because Haunter is harder to catch, so. There are some situations where catching is faster than evolving. Very rare, though. There's like only 2 realistic ones that you see in a run. And that's Kakuna and sometimes Metapod. But generally, you always want to evolve into Pokemon that you plan on getting for your decks. Grabbing more Ultra Balls here for maximum safety. Cutscene here that normally plays out, something I haven't mentioned is there's added cutscenes in this game, and I turned on an option called Skip Movies, where I can skip all movies by pressing the minus button or the plus button on my Joy-Cons. So I've been skipping them all, I'm sorry. That one's pretty good, though. And it's over. You'll just have to take my word for it, I promise. they're pretty cool. I like them. They're nice touches. The nice thing with this part is they took out all like the annoying Team Rocket fights that you normally do here in the older games. Just replace it with one Jesse and James fight, which is sometimes annoying, but not as silly as fighting like 5 Team Rocket grunts. I did get the Ghastly in time. Really nice. Big fan. I'm gonna switch to Ultra Balls finally. And I'm going to use that Nanab Berry that I talked about earlier. It's just to freeze it in place. Ghastly is one of those catches where if it's unlured, so it's not guaranteed max level, and I'm using an Ultra Ball and a Great Ball, even if I don't hit the circle, it's still like 88% to get in. I was really worried I was about to jinx it. So I'm glad it got in. Got to level 30 off that. That's nice. And I'm going to use Ghastly as like a temporary main. You're actually going to see me send out Ghastly in battle soon. but not right now. Zubat? Golbat. I don't want Golbat. Golbat's annoying to catch too. All right, so no Zubat for us this run, which is so weird. That's so uncommon. Again, like I was saying before, every run is different of Let's Go because you never catch the same, like your catch routes are always different, and not catching Zubat makes this run pretty unique. Literally one of the most common Pokemon in the entire game. Just don't have it. So the strat here is basically the same as the other Jesse and James. It's a little bit scarier because they're higher level and they have better moves. Like Weezing has like Dark Pulse now instead of just poison moves. It also has Flamethrower, I think. But the strategy is exactly the same. Maybe this time I'll get a one-shot. A little scary for it to hit me there. Thank you for critting me. Like I said, sometimes scary. This is really bad, unfortunately. Set the revive here. I guess I should have just X-attacked Rhyhorn then. It's kind of scary to X-attack Rhyhorn here though, because unfortunately, I guess I just do it. This is so silly. This thing can Dark Pulse flinch my Rhyhorn, which you don't want to see. That's fine. That's a good crit. Fortunately, Cubone's gonna die here. I guess I should stomp there instead to not risk missing. This has been the most scuff fight. Whatever. Double crit, okay. But yeah, Drill Run's a high crit chance move, so it's 1 in 8. But double crit's still rare there. Remember when I said we wouldn't see any more Drill Runs this run? Haha. Teehee. Yeah, crit's basically the only way you die there, though, unless you have really bad special defense, which I do actually have. Or really bad defense matters more because you have light screen up. And getting poison on top of that, super unlucky, super unfortunate. Should not have revived the Eevee because it doesn't actually matter at this point. But Cubone I do need to revive, so it actually levels up and becomes a Marowak soon. Go ahead and do this. Yeah. I was second guessing myself there. How do I want to do this? No, yeah, I should have just... I lied to you all, I'm sorry. Okay, we're not going to send out Ghastly. We're just going to keep Eevee in slot 1. I do need a lure still, but... Got some tea, which you may or may not give to a thirsty guard later, as Brock alludes to. Now it's time to wake up my favorite Pokemon, Snorlax. So the thing with Snorlax is it is a Pokemon that you could catch in theory, so you're like, oh, you should definitely catch that. However, you have to defeat it in combat first. It is much more in line with the older games, or pretty much every other Pokemon game where you have to like battle the Pokemon before you catch it. The Snorlax and a lot of the other static encounters are like this, so instead I am just going to run away. Bad day for all these Snorlax lovers in chat, I'm sorry. Inadvertently mattered that I revived Eevee. Very silly. So I'll pop the lure when I get inside the guardhouse. So yeah, there's a lot of things I want to catch on this route. I want a Dodo, a Ponyta, a Psyduck, a Pidgey. I may be asking for a lot here. So we'll see how this goes. I was actually supposed to go to Pewter City as well, but I can do it later. It doesn't actually matter. Actually, when is the next best time to do it? I used to know the answer to this. Ponyta. And Dodrio. That's the wrong one. I I'm so sorry, Snorlax fans. I'm so sorry. Ooh, instant jump is unfortunate, but early attack is good. Attacks are only bad when like you're trying to when you already have thrown your balls, because if a Pokemon attacks, they actually don't move for a while, so it's pretty nice. Sometimes it's not that long of a cycle before they move again, but early attack is really good there when they jump like that. So I don't want to deposit until I get my next catch done. This is so weird. Do I just evolve the Ponyta then? I guess so. Normally, you don't necessarily do this in this route because you have Aerodactyl. But because I did this in a weird order, I think this is correct. Because I forgot to go to Pewter when I was supposed to. If you're wondering why I had to go to Pewter, it's to get the old Amber, which is the fossil you convert into an Aerodactyl, which is going to be my my secret weapon to skipping trainers in late game. And again, I'll explain it way more in detail later. We'll have a lot of downtime to explain it soon. I need multiple other Pokemon. Can I get them? Please? Come on. Ooh, okay, Pidgey's really good. That helps. Pidgey was like the most important thing here. Again, by delaying catching it for as long as we have, instead of getting one of the Pidgeys earlier, we get a 3-for-1. Same with like Weedle and Caterpie. It's going to evolve twice and count as 3 dex entries. Love to see it. That'll give us Marowak as well. Did not give us Machoke, but we'll get that shortly. There might have been a point in depositing. I'm not sure. Like when I did the rare candy. Kind of hard to predict because I had such a weird situation with like things not spawning. So now I have to figure out my plan here if I don't see a Psyduck or a Doduo. I can't really afford to miss out on both. I do have Tentacle as an option to catch, and then I could also... I guess I could miss out on both. Because I do get 3 free Pokemon due to me doing any percent instead of any percent no mount skips because I get the fossils. I would really like one though game. I'll give it a second. Okay, that works. Perfect. No Doduo for us this run, though. I was trying to rush that for a great. It was a little too slow because I don't want too much experience here for once. Looks like it was Haunter and Machoke. And this will bring us to 34 Pokemon. 36, sorry. 36 Pokemon. Which isn't really that high, but that's kind of normal for this route because, or for this category, because we get 3 free Pokemon from the fossils. You're gonna get Omanite, which will evolve into Omastar, and then we get Aerodactyl as well. And again, for anyone coming in late, Dex entries are important in any percent for this game because you need to have 50 Pokemon in your Pokedex in order to challenge Koga's gym. Otherwise, you cannot beat the game. You cannot get that gym badge. You cannot progress into Victory Road. You can't fight the Elite Four, etc., etc. I talked earlier in the run how like a lot of like minor decisions that Game Freak either made intentionally or unintentionally drastically impact the speedrun. And evolutions are one of those things that are a factor here. So again, if this was just Sword Shield, right? And say evolutions were like twice as fast or level ups for instant instead of 1 per level, it would drastically change how the run works. Because right now, the fact that evolutions are just a smidge faster than catches lead to a lot of interesting decision making that you have to do to balance like whether you're evolving certain things or catching certain things. And it leads to the run not being like super lopsided where they're like, oh, I have to get as many evolutions as possible because they're like 10 times faster than catches. It's just because this game came out right before a lot of the big quality of life stuff of Sword and Shield happened, because this game came out, you know, a year before that. And as a result, it led to an inadvertently really balanced speedrun. Or obviously it'd be nice if things were faster. Like, the run would be faster, which is cool. However, a lot of the things that make this run interesting would probably not exist. Very weird how things turned out with this game. Another quirky thing is, like, level ups in battle are almost 3 times as slow as level ups outside of battle, so it's like an extra speedrunning complexity layer where you're like trying to minimize the amount of level ups in battle if you can help it, because you just save time. Which leads to more weird decision making and like moment to moment thinking. Whereas like normally in Pokemon games, you kind of just like, for Pokemon speedruns, a lot of the time you kind of just shut your brain off for like long segments of the game. Like when you're doing Gold, Silver, Crystal and you're in Radio Tower or Rocket Underground, you don't think. you just press moves. Or like any other Pokemon game, really. It's pretty interesting. So yeah, we're gonna fly to Pewter now. And go get that old Amber. Again, this is normally a big detour and you wouldn't do this in any other circumstance except in the circumstance where Aerodactyl is the Pokemon that lets you save 4 minutes. I'll talk more about it later. Just trust me. Just trust me, bro. Use that lure, go straight down the Pallet Town, and then we're going to surf to Cinnabar. And while we're doing this, we're going to go ahead and catch 2 Pokemon here. I need Staryu and Tentacool. Did I do my menu? I did not. I'm glad I caught that. Didn't mean to do that, but that works. Move that up there. Now we go. Staryu is actually going to be our main Pokemon for the rest of the run. We're going to use it in all the battles. It is a broken Pokemon. Turns out Water Psychic typing is really good in a game where there are no Dark types, because this is a Gen 1 game. Going to use those Silver Raspberries I picked up. If you're wondering why I'm not 2 controlling this, it's because I cannot. You can only use 1 controller in water catches for some reason. I do not know why. I guess because you just generally can't have your second player out surfing with you, but I don't know why the reason for that is, but we got to start. You can actually tell if it's going to be. You can guess if it's going to be good or bad based on the combat power it shows on top right. I didn't actually look. We're just going to ride the vibes. Even if it's bad, you just kind of have to deal with it anyway. Unlike the Eevee, unlike your starter, it is not guaranteed to have good stats. It is only guaranteed to be modest nature because of the nature synchronizing thing I did. Would still like Tentacool here. It's not a hard requirement. There it is. I didn't lure there. I could have turned it off. That was so close. Whew. I don't know how that counted as a nice, but I'll take it. All right, so actually only one thing left to catch in the run now. It's just going to be a Coughing. Which will evolve into a Wheezing, and then that's going to be our last like evolution for the run. Ooh, a lot of Tentacruels. Before we proceed further, I'm actually going to go ahead and go into the lab. I'm going to get a free Pokemon. I'm going to show him the Helix Fossil and the Old Amber. So give us Omanite and Aerodactyl. Normally, you would just sell your fossil in Vermilion. Because kind of getting in, even though like gift Pokemon are the fastest Pokemon in the game, like I said earlier, because you have to go like all the way into this building and out, it's pretty slow and not worth it. But it is an option. During the tournament that we had a few months ago, we had a Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu 80% no mount skip tournament. A lot of fun, a lot of good races from that. You check them out on YouTube. During the tournament, some people were keeping the fossil on purpose just as a backup, because it's not that slow just to keep it. You just have to pick up an extra item to sell instead of selling the fossil. Turn off the lure there. I'll probably take your next break at Blaine. That makes the most sense, I think. And I will... Do I menu here? Yeah. Do I even have room for everything? I don't think so. I do, somehow, for now at least. Except not really. You need to be in here still. For now. I'll move stuff later. Alright, this Staryu is okay. Not good. The speed's actually pretty bad. Oh wait, I don't learn this. I forgot. This is 90%. No Hydro Pump here. Get that out of here. We don't need it. We don't need that inaccurate move. In any percent no man skips, you do need Hydro Pump because it is a very powerful move that can save you turns in battles, but we're going to just not do those certain battles. We're simply going to skip them and do other strats for the other battles where we would use Hydro Pump. And we're also going to learn that move Scald that we got all the way back from Misty way back when. 80 power move, 30% chance to burn, special attack, very powerful, very good. Need a coughing here. There you are. Do not run into me, Magmar. Thank you. No! It's fine. The last second juke. I've been owned. Okay, cool. All right, that's the last catch of the run, chat. Free. So yeah, similar to how Nidoking is like the perfect storm of just random things that make it amazing for speedrunning red, blue, yellow. Same thing for Starmie, it just... don't touch me. Turns out Water Psychic is just perfect. There's literally only one thing that hardwalls us in the run, and we have an alternative to deal with it. Everything else we kind of deal with no problem. We get great coverage because we have Scald, Psychic, and Thunderbolts, which we get from Lieutenant Surge. And then this fight's pretty scary normally. It's scary in the sense that, like, there's a 3% chance or like 2% chance that this fight just goes completely off the wall and is just a nightmare, but 99% of the time it's like fine. Don't do the math and add up the percentages I just gave you. You won't like it. So I'm going to just use Psychic here and hope I do not get trolled by this Electrode, which can paralyze me. Don't do it. Okay. Sometimes it just targets the Rapidash instead, which is great. And it actually did very little, like living with 40 HP there is pretty good special defense, so maybe my special defense is higher than I thought. Oh, I should have Super Potioned that, but I'll just bed heal. It's safer anyway for a showcase run. Ooh, and dodging the Rapidash level in battle is nice. Free 4-second time save there. Love to see it. I'm glad that multiple people are commenting on the Star Fox shirt. I actually just got it back. It's either a GDQ shirt or an RPG Olympic shirt. It's probably a GDQ shirt. I don't quite remember. but I got it forever ago. And I just got it back because I went home for Thanksgiving. And I completely forgot about it. I just looking through my old stuff when I was back home, and I was like, wait, I like barely wore this. I should bring this back. Let's take the free bed healer there. I'm gonna take this for candy. Just to level up the coughing, because I don't really have room to put in my party right now. Ugh. And I just want to make sure I can evolve it in time. Dude, these spawns are trying to get me. I think we only got one like extra encounter this. No, we got two. We got one in here, and then one in Mount Moon, which is pretty good. I need to put Aerodactyl in at some point. I guess whenever I do the coughing. And now, again, it's been an hour and a half chat, but we're finally getting our third gym badge. It happens to be the 7th gym leader, but we're finally getting it. This is Blaine. He's the fire type gym leader. He's going to make us do a little quiz here. I got to make sure I don't say the wrong things, otherwise I lose a lot of time. Throughout the section, be sure to keep your eyes on Eevee. He's having the best reactions right now. Tombstoney. Shout out to the older games where I used to say Tombstoner. And then that last one you can say whatever option, does not matter. Look at Eevee. Look at Eevee. Oh! Eevee Pog face. And now we fight Blaine. The secret key is just to get us into the building, otherwise we would not be allowed in, so you have to go through the whole mansion for that, unfortunately. I love the fire in his eyes. Strat's very simple here. I am a very powerful water-type Pokemon. So, surprise, I'm going to spam Scald. I do actually have to use an X special attack here, though. You can save or lose time randomly here, depending on what it does. Optimal. Okay, I got the perfect fight. Sort of, except I am going to probably get outsped by Rapidash and lose some time. But that Magmar can also use Confuse Ray, which will lose time because you have to heal it. You can also Flamethrower burn you after confusing you, which is really bad, and you never want to see that. Don't hurt too bad? Alright. Totally fine. The nightmare scenario is you get burned, and then you also get outsped by things, and then Ninetales finishes you off quick attack. It's a nightmare. Yeah, I love Blaine's fit in this game. His concept art is so good, too. He looks so cool. He has concept art without the lab coat on. Big fan. Alright, I'm going to call for a break pretty shortly here, probably right after the cutscene. While the cutscenes play out, I'm going to do some announcements. One is that if you've missed any of our other Hotfix shows, be sure to check out the VODs on youtube.com/gamesdonequick. If you are watching on YouTube, hello. Be sure to press the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel. Also go to twitch.tv/gamesdonequick to watch our shows live. And a reminder that your subs, Prime Gaming subs, gift subs, bits, etc. cheered on the GDQ Twitch channel. I have to think if hype chats were a thing still. On the GDQ Twitch channel, help support Games Done Quick Hotfix. So if you enjoy watching the Speedruns daily, definitely go ahead and support and subscribe, bits, etc., etc. And if you're enjoying this run at all, definitely feel free to follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/etchy. I do a lot of Pokemon speedrun stuff and TCG and casual stuff as well with Pokemon games. I will be focusing a lot on Gen 4 in the next month because I'll be doing Pokemon Diamond Any % for GDQ 2024. So we're going to come down to that break. After this cutscene plays. Give it a second. This guy walks very slowly after this. Come on, buddy. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. No, I mistimed it. Hold on. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. I'm sorry. My bad. Let's go to break. Bye. Hello and welcome back, everybody, to the GDQ Hotfix. I'm in the middle of a Let's Go Eevee 80% speedrun. I want to give you one quick Eevee pet there. We're going to get back into it in 3, 2, 1, go. That was probably my only opportunity to do that in this run, so I figured I'd go ahead and do it. Eevee enjoyed that. So now we're kind of going backwards. Like I said, we put off all the gym leaders for as long as possible, and now we're going to go back and clean them all up. So our gym order is really scuffed. I'm going to kind of steamroll these next few gyms because I am a much higher level Starmie. It's going to be like, the gym order is like 1, 2, 7, 3, 4, 6, 5, 8. Again, Koga being the 5th one, we're going to put it off for as long as possible. And I'm just going to spam Scald for this fight, and then we're going to get to Erica, and I'm going to spam Psychic. And then we add more plot after that. But during this section is probably the best time for me to try to explain mount skips to the best of my abilities. Mount skips are very... Okay, so like, in theory, they're simple. The process of working them out and getting them to a RTA viable state was really hard and time-consuming. A lot of trial and error, a lot of effort went into it by a lot of people. But some history on what a mount skip is. 2 years ago, we had no idea what mount skips were. They weren't a thing at all. But a runner by the name of Cruel, shout out Cruel, awesome guy. 2 evolutions here too, Golduck and Pidgeotto. Cruel was doing a run of Let's Go. I don't remember if it was Eevee or Pikachu, but didn't talk to a trainer in Victory Road and just kind of ran past them on Rapidash. It was a mandatory trainer, and we were very confused. We were like, how did you do that? What? Cruel didn't even realize, because Cruel just didn't know they were supposed to fight that trainer. So he didn't even like realize what he did until it happened. Or until people told him, basically. So it got clipped and everyone was freaking out. And then people like tried to do it on like other trainers, just try to run past them on Rapidash, basically. Because that's all Cruel did, was just run past the trainer's vision with Rapidash. We were super confused. And we could not recreate it with anybody else except for Dawson, the trainer in Victory Road that Cruel skipped. So there was a lot of theories at the time. We thought it was like, oh, maybe it's like the weird kind of things around. Because if you see what's around that character, you'll understand what I'm talking about. There's like a choke point and like rocks and stuff. So it's a very tight passage. So like I was thinking maybe it's like, because Rapidash like spawns in and out, maybe something about the way that happens, it lets you skip the trainer. So there wasn't any developments on that for 6 to 9 months, maybe? Let me do this menu really quickly. Actually, I should go ahead and bring back in... Actually, I should just do this now, right? Yeah. Oh, I could have... I should have just deposited the other Mon too. It's okay. So no developments for a while. And then randomly... I don't remember their exact name. It was like Game 2590, I believe was their name. They joined the Let's Go, or the Switch Speedrunning Discord. They were learning the run, and they accidentally skipped another trainer in Victory Road, Juggler Nelson. And they were like, hey, do people know you can skip this trainer? Because, like, I just did this, and I don't see anybody talking about it. And we were like, what? Huh? And sure enough, we keep trying to do we just have a bunch of people just trying to run past this trainer on Rapidash until somebody gets it to work one time. And somebody gets it to work, yeah. So I think it was Joker who got, or Joker Aspect probably. I did not mark. Here's my ride. So now we're like, okay, we can skip 2 trainers in Victory Road, like 1% of the time on Rapidash, and we don't understand why. So that immediately like kind of made people realize like, oh, you can probably skip any, like more than just these 2 trainers somehow with Rapidash, right? But I didn't really get any like progress on it to any degree. A few months later, basically we realized I think people tried it on other. I think actually Joker got a skip on all the trainers in Victory Road. Just not all at once, but like at one point or another, managed to skip all the trainers, and just kept brute forcing them until he got all of them. Probably Aspect 2 helped with that. I don't remember exactly, but I know Joker recorded like footage of him getting a skip on every trainer. Yeah, that happened. Yeah. Sorry, I'm like remembering this as I do this while I do a speedrun. So Joker figured that out. Figured out that you can use Rapidash to skip any of the Victory Road trainers. And it turns out Rapidash, because of when you get it in the run, the only trainers you could actually skip with Rapidash are the Victory Road trainers. There's 4 of them. 4 of them? 1, 2, 6. Yeah, 4. So what people were doing in their any % speedruns was just YOLOing the trainers, just trying to run past them and seeing if you got a free minute time save, basically. And that is what happened to me. I broke the 3-hour barrier by randomly running past one of the scariest trainers in the game in Victory Road and skipping the trainer. And got a big world record off of that. I was freaking out. I was like, this is awesome. Because again, these skips are like probably 1% to happen if you're not knowing how they happen in the first place. So sometime after that, I wanted to... Corvimate was like, you should actually figure out how the skips work so you can save more time. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I should do that. So I did a bunch of testing. I'll try to keep it shorter because we are going to get into more gameplay soon here. TLDR, I did a ton of trial and error until I got Anubis, who I talked about earlier, was able to help out and look into things with us as well, and had some tools to help us do some math and check in-game coordinates, basically. And TLDR, we figured out, the first thing I confirmed is like, if you are always in the same place and you go in a straight direction, if that spot gives you the trainer skip one time, it'll always give you the trainer skip as long as you do the inputs the same. So once I knew that, I knew it was like replicable, as long as you could find setups that work for all the trainers. And how we did that is with these. This is a cheap Amazon Joy-Con I got from like some unnamed company. It was $20 for the set of the 2, and it's noteworthy. I'll try to zoom in on it. It's noteworthy because if you look at the stick up here, you see that it is a gated joystick. So if you hold left, you will go straight left. If you hold right, you will go straight right. That is not the case with normal Joy-Cons. So by using this third-party Joy-Con, you can guarantee you go in straight lines. And basically, the way these skips actually work is Aerodactyl can move and Rapidash can move at a speed of higher than 26 pixels per frame. And Trainer Vision is exactly 26 pixels per frame. So if Aerodactyl goes 26.4 pixels per frame, or I think it's 26.2. I don't remember exactly. There's a window there where you just basically go past the trainer's vision. That is what we figured out and what we learned. So by doing extremely precise sub-pixel setups, we can skip past all the trainers in Victory Road. And in order to do that, you need to use these Joy-Cons. So it is a separate category for that reason, because of this additional hardware requirement that's kind of hard to get in the first place. Because sometimes they just don't have them in stock. Big shout out to Anubis and Sandy for helping out with that, because it was a nightmare. It's consumed like a month of my life. And now content. So back to the game. Wrong thing. Gonna use Crunch on this Aerodactyl again. This Executor is like the only thing that resists in the game. Yeah, Sandy's right. So Trainer Vision is 25 pixels. Movement speed is 26. So... And again, that's only an Aerodactyl and Rapidash. There are other fast mounts in the game, but they only go 24 point something pixels. So even though Aerodactyl looks like the same speed as Charizard, you cannot do the skips in Charizard because it is technically a smidge faster, even though you can't really see it with the eye test. This Starmie is so mediocre. These stats are not good. It's gonna like barely be fine. I got like the best Starmie of my life yesterday too. So sad. All right, enough about mount skips for now. We'll see more later. It's on to the worst fight in the entire game. This is Archer 2, aka the Archer Double. So the two people that randomly did it were using regular Joy-Cons. You can do it with regular Joy-Cons. It's just random, basically, if it happens or not. I got it in my world record run, the first sub 3 for Let's Go ever, just by randomly getting lucky, basically. So why is this fight really bad? You might be asking, you know, I didn't heal. I'm dead. wait, I'm dead. Oh, I forgot to heal in that last menu. I'll just get lucky here, watch. I did not get lucky. I got too sidetracked explaining mount skips. This fight's really bad, though, if you couldn't tell from that last pause there, is there's a huge delay in this fight because it's the only true double, because you're teamed up here with... I need to pick up the extra max revive later. You get teamed up with your rival Trace here, and for some reason that just adds a ton of lag to the fight. Protect self-destruct's fine. If Golbat comes out here, I think I Rock Slide. I think I actually Rock Slide here. Which is really weird. I've never tried to do this with Aerodactyl before. It's so scuffed. But I think this is almost certainly correct. Okay, Muck dodged it. Cool. Sure. Alright, well, I mean, it worked out because it was going to Bone Ring and it wasn't going to hit anyway. Do I do it again? No, surely I switch here. Because it should go for Cubone instead of me because of the HP. Okay, well, this is the rare Raichu fight. You, like, never get to see Raichu in this. So enjoy. All because I forgot to heal. Yeah, new strat. I guess I should I think it's gonna outspeed me here. No, it's level 37. I should have let it kill Golbat, I guess. But it should kill Raticate next turn anyway. Yeah. Alright, so it's scuffed, but should be fine here. Should work out okay. But yeah, so when you see me do the skips, they're not going to look that tricky or weird. Just know that they're incredibly precise with, like, literally 1 pixel of, like, leniency. And yeah, it is extremely messed up that our rival can evolve, but we can't. It's not fair. There's Omastar. I think just Tentacool now needs to evolve. And Pidgeot, too. Pidgeot will be on Sabrina, though. Omastar. Yeah, these Joy-Cons are weird. These Joy-Cons are so weird. And again, to reiterate, too, like, you could find setups with other Joy-Cons. There are other third-party Joy-Cons that do some degree of, like, directional locking. So you just got to find your own setups for those, and it'll probably be fine. You're not forced to use these ones, basically. But everyone just uses these because these are unironically the best, even though they are the most scuffed and whacked out Joy-Cons ever. Like, these Joy-Cons are so messed up. If you like, hold the stick at all while you pair it, it will keep holding that direction, even if you let go, until it unpairs. So you have to be really gentle when you connect the controller later. There are only Gen 1 Pokemon in this game except for the Alolan variants, which we'll see. We're not going to see in this run, but you can see in a casual playthrough. They actually add all of them, or a bunch of them, to the Elite Four rematch. So like they'll give Alolan Executor to Lance, Alolan Sandslash to Lorelei. It's awesome. And let me tell you, the camera gets so funny when Alolan Executor comes out. Meltan is in the game. Everybody forgets about Meltan. Or Meltan. I'm gonna Rock Slide here. Another benefit is that I can just randomly flinch the Weezing here with the Aerodactyl. Just get the flinch. Oof. Oh, that's so lame. I have to heal that. And I have to heal outside of battle too before Sabrina because the HP is not good enough. Super lame. Alright, one more fight and then we're basically done with the story parts of the game and it's just kind of beat the game from here. Once we beat Giovanni here, we actually get a Master Ball, which unfortunately is useless from this point on because we are done catching. There's nothing like worth catching or on the way that we could use the Master Ball on from like this point forward. So sometimes you can use it if like you're desperate and just need a random Pokemon, like you can catch a Venonat before Koga. But generally you use it for other categories to catch like Mewtwo or something. That's the wrong one. It's fine. I need to heal anyway, so this actually works out. I'm not getting punished super hard for wrong item. So special is boosted. Now we just go. There are difficult to catch Pokemon that would be great to use the Master Ball on, but there's just none on the way, basically, from this point on, because we're just going to go to Sabrina, and then go straight to Fuchsia, where we're just going to fly there, and then we're going to fight Koga, and then we're going to fly to Giovanni and fight him. So there's no like routes really on the way, before Koga, at least. It'd be awesome if we got it, like, I don't know, 20 minutes earlier. Just sent to Cruel. Now we just need Pidgeot to evolve, and then we're set. Should evolve on Sabrina. If it does not evolve, it is very bad. Plan B, if it doesn't evolve, is I have to go grab another Moonstone. I'm also now realizing that, the using it on Pharaoh is the Professor Oak meme thing. Unironically, they were cooking with that because, like, this game, dude, Master Balling a Tentacruel or a Pharaoh would be actually so optimal. They are such a pain in the butt to catch in this game, especially Tentacruel because you can't two-controller it. You can't do a synchronized catch. And now we're done with quote-unquote story. We have saved Silphco. They may resume regular business activities. And our reward for saving Silphco is 2 more Pokemon. So we're going to go down to the 7th floor. Now we'll get a free Lapras along with a free rare candy just by opening this door. Using the card key I got earlier. Tentacruel and Pharaoh are really hard to catch because they just move a lot and they... it's hard to hit the circle on them. Tentacruel is okay because it at least stops moving and doesn't like go up and down the way Pharaoh does. But the problem with Tentacruel is you're forced to one controller catch it. So your catch rate's just naturally lower. Synchronized catches are way more likely to get in. It's really hard to explain when I say Fearow moves a lot until you like just watch like a video of what happens when you engage a Fearow to try to catch it. It is ridiculous. It is so hard to hit the circle. I love how powerful Aerodactyl's wings sound, too, when you ride it. You get a free Porygon as well for saving Silphco. Yeah, for some reason, you cannot double the throw while you surf. I do not know why. I guess they didn't want to have two people surfing at once for whatever reason. Too complicated. This will be the last big shop of the game. Gonna grab some Hyper Potions. Max Repels, because now we are done catching. And then a lot of X items. Let's say 31 of these. Just one X defend. I'm going to be really safe and grab some full heals. But it's not super necessary. Let's get 57 of those, I think. That sounds pretty good. Yeah, anything that moves a lot is really annoying in this game to catch because of motion controls. Now, casually, the way I play this game, and probably the way a lot of other people play this game, is if you play in handheld mode, the way the catching works is actually just point and shoot. Like, you just move your switch like a gyroscope thing. It's actually pretty easy to hit like any Pokemon dead on like that. I need a heal. I'll wait until I get right to Sabrina. Small optimization in this gym is that if you approach the teleporters perfectly, like in the center, you avoid an animation. Otherwise, you lose like a second for every single one you touch. So let's not mess up. If this was like AGDQ, I'd be like, okay, I'll donate $5 for every teleporter I do correctly. Some of these are kind of tricky, like these diagonal ones. Top left, top left. So I actually didn't find it that hard to catch things. At least to like hit the circles when I was first playing this game casually. That's what it looks like when you do it wrong. But if you do the handheld thing, you don't get the synchronized catch bonus, so it is actually quite slow. That HP is good enough. I didn't want to use a hyper. I guess I should have swapped the hypers up there already, but I have to do the elixir regardless after this fight, so. Wait, can't I just elixir now? I could have elixir now because you don't psychic anything here. Yeah. Never thought about that. Yeah, you could menu here. If you needed to heal for whatever reason, you could menu before Sabrina and cut that part out of the next menu. Interesting. There you go. I'm going to start this fight with X special attacks. You use the light screen turn 1. Now, I have to kind of stall out until that light screen's gone before the Alakazam comes out. Otherwise, it will ratio me. So, what I'm going to do here is I set up another X special, set up an X speed, and now I need to stall at 2 turns. And the way I do that is just by attacking. I will now 2-shot thanks to that burn. I was not going to 2-shot otherwise. This is what status lag looks like, by the way. You can't see it, but Mr. Mime is having the burn animation off screen there. And now the light screen will be gone. There's Pidgeot, and that'll be 50 Pokemon. Now, sometimes Sabrina doesn't light screen, or does a slightly later light screen. If she does it later, you just have to stall an extra turn and it stinks. If she doesn't do it at all in the first 2 turns, you just attack and you save like 30 seconds for free. It is incredibly unlikely, but when it does happen, it feels really, really good. I've only had it happen to me like 3 times, maybe. All right, and that's Sabrina. And now only 2 gym leaders remain. The big bad scary Koga and Giovanni. So yeah, here's our 50th Pokemon. The glorious Pidgeot. This is also the hardest teleporter. Nice. That one's hard just because you can't see it. All right, big menu here. Gonna use that elixir. Heal up all my PP. Heal up my Starmie. And then we're gonna deposit everything except for this Aerodactyl and this Starmie. These are gonna be our only friends for the rest of the run until the very last fight in the game where someone special will make a nice appearance. Gonna use a rare candy here. Give me the level 49. It actually helps me hit some important level thresholds later. That's in the right spot. Let me just go. Little cutscene here. Something I didn't mention on the first pass here. There's no Safari Zone in this game. They actually replaced the entire area with the Pokemon Go Park, which Jesse just mentioned there. Just an area that lets you transfer Pokemon from Pokemon Go into your Let's Go Eevee or Pikachu game. So there's no Safari Zone, so there's still the gold teeth thing where you trade that to get an HM. In this case, you get Strength, or Pushy Push, as it's called in this game. So you just get the gold teeth for free from this cutscene. So yeah, we hit the 50 Pokemon requirement. Hopefully I didn't miscount. That'd be really funny if I did. I've gotten 49 here and gotten kicked out. I've gotten 51 here, which feels really bad because you're just like, oh, I lost like 40 seconds in the run for no reason. Catching some random Pokemon. And I got exactly 50 there. He tells you the number, so we are safe. The awesome Koga design. And this gym is terrifying. This gym sucks. This gym is so mean and just randomly loses you a lot of time, but most of the time it's just fine. This first fight is almost scarier than Koga himself. So this Muck has Moonblast, which is a Fairy-type move. So that's not the scary part. The scary part is lowers your special attack. It also has Toxic and Minimize and Protect. And I have to waste a turn here, unfortunately, using an X special attack. So let's see what will happen here. It uses Protect. That's perfect. Scary thing there is like Minimize, and then you miss on subsequent turns while it like Toxics you and trolls you. This thing can Protect as well, but it's totally fine. Because nothing bad happened on Muck. I don't really care what this guy does. And now Koga. Koga, all of his Pokemon no Protect. So you can guess what's going to happen. You might just get really unlucky sometimes and every single one of his Pokemon uses Protect and you lose a ton of time. The Weezing that he leads with can sometimes lose you even more time depending on what it does. Sometimes it just explodes turn 1 and you're like, cool, time save. Because then your HP gets really low, so all the other Pokemon will like try to kill you instead of Protect. And that is the dream scenario. I actually got it yesterday. Probably means it will not happen today. I'll probably just show the normal fight instead. Please be nice, Koga. I always dread this part of the run because you just have so little control over what happens, and sometimes you just see the time fly away from you. Special. Oh, that's exactly okay. And the problem with this setup is that I'm probably just going to get Protect turn 1 on every Mon now. Which is not what you want to see, but it is better than losing time, I guess. For like Poison. Alright, I didn't get one there. That's really good. I didn't get one there. Alright, this is a great split. I take these any day of the week on a real PB, on a good run. Dude, 3? I only got 1 protect? That's so good. This is actually a really good split. Wow. This like never happens. If your run's good, this never happens. That was a only on GDQ moment. Again, he is pretty likely to use protect there. So thanks, buddy. Thanks, sucker. And now only 1 gym badge remains. But before I go there, I gotta go do a little something. Gotta go turn those gold teeth. And we get secret technique, strong push. This is what it's called, not pushy push. Pushy push is like an Eevee named move, like Baddie Bad. I will never get over Baddie Bad being an official Pokemon move name. It's so good. And it makes me so sad we don't learn it. I think you do learn it in the if you do Eevee alt main, like beat the game with only Eevee. Unfortunately, this run is not that. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and pop that Max Repel. And fly to Viridian. We're going to go try to enter Giovanni's gym and see what's up. On our fancy Aerodactyl. One thing here is if you approach this a little bit more south, you lose like 5 seconds because this game's awesome. Basically, if you're a little bit further south, he will walk all the way down and then turn to you instead of just talking to you like this. And now we're gonna have a little weird extra cutscene here that isn't in the original games. Professor Oak's gonna give us some presents, some Christmas presents. He's gonna give us a what is it called? Well, we're gonna get a keystone from Blue, which some of those who might know what that is already. It's about Mega Evolutions. We're gonna get some fun little stones here. So I can't remember what exactly they're called. We'll see in a second. Venusaurite, Charizard X, Charizardite X, Charizardite Y, and Blastoisite. So those just let us use Mega Evolutions if we had any of those Pokemon. We don't have any of those Pokemon, so you're not going to see me do any Mega Evolutions. But yes, Mega Evolutions are in this game. This is a Gen 7 game. Pre-Gen 8, before they got deleted. But we will not be using any, because there's no Mega Eeveeite that we were given, or Mega Starmieite, I guess. We're just going to run back up. It's faster than flying, especially because Aerodactyl very fast. And now it is time for Giovanni's gym. Another very scary part of the run. Not because of Giovanni, mind you. No. Giovanni is like a death point, yes, but not that scary. The scary part is the second trainer in this gym. There's 3 trainers total. Second trainer is Ace Trainer Samuel. Samuel has a Nidoking. You might be asking, what's so scary about a Nidoking? You have Psychic and Scald. Both are super effective against it. Well, you can't kill it. It's actually really powerful. And it has Megahorn. Megahorn's really powerful. It is so normally the strat is you Hydro Pump it and you just hit and you win. That is the standard strat for any percent no mount skips. And that's what you try to do. Unfortunately, that means you have a 20% of missing very often, and that means that what's going to happen a lot of times is he's going to Megahorn you and he will kill you. Many people have lost many runs that way. It's very sad. We're going to not deal with that at all in this run. 1, because I don't have Hydro Pump because it's any percent and I didn't teach it. But 2, because we're just going to do this strat instead. This is what you always do in any percent regardless, but you also do this if you're just trying to play safe in no mount skips as well. Basically, normal cheese strat. I'm just going to skull the next special. Take out any of the risk. It's fun. Again, 2 controller fights, very slow. Remember that. So I actually lose 10 seconds approximately for doing this. You get the other Mega Evolution Stones right in the Elite Four. Or Indigo Plateau, I guess it's called, yeah. In the main room, there's someone you can buy them from. So we got through the Samuel, and now it's Giovanni. Giovanni's annoying because he leads a Doug Trio. Doug Trio outspeeds you and can crit you multiple times. So I'm going to just not get unlucky. That is my strategy. Yeah, Sucker Punch 2 for like even more priority. It has Slash for high crit chance and then has Earthquake for maximum damage. You can 2-control this fight for safety as well, but not really when you have Aerodactyl. It's kind of weirder. It's not as good. Rapidash, it's definitely better. In the regular route for no mount skips, you would just have Rapidash in your party instead of Aerodactyl, but we don't need both. We have the GOAT, the superior Aerodactyl. So it's all good. If I do get unlucky, I will probably just summon the second controller and deal with it. I have to lead with the next special attack here. Oh, wait. I did that wrong. I was supposed to X defend. I'm going to do it now and not get unlucky. Teehee. My defense is actually really good, so it worked out. Nice. Shout out good defense. Why is this Starmie has like surprisingly good bulk? I guess that's why its offensive stats are terrible. It all went to the bulk. This Starmie might have actually been good enough to tank 2 Earthquakes. It was definitely a range there. Or it was definitely probably a range. How much did the other ones do? 37 to 6 is 31. I think I could have tanked 2 Earthquakes, which is like, that like never happens. My HP is really high, actually. That's why. HP and like good defense, good special defense. Really good HP. You're seeing now, by the way, that the last hour of this run is very much a normal Pokemon speedrun. Just optimize fights, sometimes taking risks depending on your pace. Usually crying about missing Hydro Pump. That's 8 gym badges. We got the Earth badge. Got Earthquake. And we're actually getting really close to busting out this guy for the mount skips. I'm very excited. I have not had the chance to do them on GDQ. I know it's been done on GDQ Hotfix before. But I'm very excited to show them off. Now, I did mention earlier, too, I need this, for sure. Just in case. I did mention earlier that you can do skips with Rapidash as well, because, again, that's how they were found in the first place. The setups are different for it. And we don't have, like, perfectly optimized, hyper-fast setups for Rapidash, so I'm not bothering with them today. Sandy did get some setups working for Rapidash, but I'm not doing those in this run for a GDQ marathon. I will not get them first try. No way. And right now the skips themselves are slower than the Aerodactyl, but it still should be faster overall, but I'm not going to try them anytime soon. They're just a lot more finicky, basically. A lot more setup time per skip. And the more things you have... It's hard to explain, but when you see it, you'll understand. I need to heal there. This is fine. I'll heal here. I guess I could have... done that differently there. This Starmie has terrible speed, by the way. It is very rare to get outsped by Pidgeot. And guess who just got outsped by Pidgeot? And Something to note there. I did X speed that turn, but in this generation, X speeds don't take effect until like the next turn. So I'm like done. So I guess I heal. So that's why it still managed to outspeed me, even though I should have double speed. Scald again, or Psychic. Then doesn't matter what I do with Aerodactyl. Alright. And now we don't do any fights until the Elite Four, because we are skipping the rest of the fights in this game. The rest of the trainer fights in this game, I should say. I'm scared. Hopefully the controller cooperates with me tonight. I have not had problems with it during runs in the past. It is very reliable when it works out, or when you do them, because the skips are very safe. Like, they're very consistent. As long as your controller doesn't suddenly break. So right now I actually removed the grip from my Joy-Con, because this is the only way to like turn it off is you press the button on the inside. Because I need to turn off the controller and then turn on the other one. That third-party controller I was talking about earlier. I'm going to turn it off during a cutscene to not lose time. I'm like, I'm not sure how much focus I'm going to need for this, but I might be pretty focused during these. But there's like chunks of downtime between a lot of them, so. All right, Victory Road, it's time. So I'm going to go in here, I'm going to push this boulder, push down the gate, and then it is time for the first skip. Okay. Controller coming on. Please turn on, thank you. Okay, so now we're on the other Joy-Con. I'm going to run out the rappel, just so it doesn't mess us up. Run against this wall, run up, remount, hold left. And that is the first trainer skip done. That is one of the scariest fights in the entire game, because she has a Kangaskhan that does not die and will kill your Starmie super easily. So being able to skip that is so huge. Definitely the scariest fight in late game. This next trainer skip, I'm going to line myself up against this wall here. And then I'm going to kind of put myself inside this indent. Buffer this direction to bounce off of it, basically. Remount, and then hold up, and that's the second trainer skip. Again, these are all very precise subpixel setups. If I just like ran along the wrong part of these walls, entirely based off visual cues, if I just ran along the wrong part, I would end up on completely different pixels, and even if it looks like I'm in the same spot, I would fail to skip. So this part, just hitting this, and then this next skip is not a mount skip, it is just a regular skip. Again, taking advantage of the fact that trainer vision is the way it is. You kind of just walk around this trainer very carefully. This one we've known about forever. It is a very funny one, though. It is also harder to do because I don't have my regular Joy-Con. Come on, man. Dude, I can't do this. Thank you. That was silly. Gonna get into this wall here, hug the wall to keep Aerodactyl unspawned, run like that, hold down. If you're wondering why I'm doing the menu every time there too, it's just to buffer my input to guarantee I go in a straight direction, because otherwise you can't guarantee it. This next part, I'm gonna do this technique I call wiggles. I call it a wiggle. Basically, if you notice when I hold up or down, let's say I'm facing up and I hold down, you'll see my character either turn left or right and then go down. Because, you know, like human physics, right? You got to turn. You can't just like go straight. You can't be facing up and then suddenly be facing down without turning. So if I hold down, you'll see that I'm going to turn left or right. And that I call that a wiggle. So if I wiggle left, I move myself about 10 pixels. If I wiggle right, I move to the right about 10 pixels. And you're going to see me wiggle a bunch here because this setup's really funky because of how tight and how little space you have to work with. So you also have to make sure you wiggle in the right direction, which you don't really have control over. I always want to wiggle left, basically. So that's 3. Not that. I'm going to dismount. Run down. I got the wiggles. Remount. Hold right. And we got the last skip. That was all the mount skips in the run. I am sweating. My heart's beating. They're always so terrifying because of how precise they are. You have some control over what direction you wiggle in, but sometimes the game is just like, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. Oh, I pressed A. No. My world record Eevee run, I actually mess up the last Dawson skip, and I have to redo it at the very last part because my character decided to wiggle in the other direction. It was really awesome, and it caused me to miss out on the 256. I probably speed tie Jinx now because I probably just get outsped by Jinx because I did not fight any of the trainers. So I might actually want to X speed on Lorelei, which is so cursed. I'm at full health because I got the free heal from Officer Jenny. And we're going into the Elite Four. And I need to switch Joy-Cons. I kind of forgot. We're good. We're back. We are so back. So yeah, important to note, I'm like way lower level than you normally. Like I'm like 1 level lower level than you normally are here. So my strats are gonna be a little bit different from the normal route. Just playing super safe. My bulk is absurd. I definitely XP here then. Yeah, because I still tank an Earthquake now. That's so ridiculous. This Starmie's like the weirdest Starmie I've ever gotten. But, okay, sure. Like, yeah, I can just comfortably tank 4 waterfalls, why not? So yeah, I'm at +6 special attack, so it's 6 stages, which is basically the max special attack you can get here, because I use 3 X items. So I will one-shot everything, use an X speed, so I do not have to worry about this Jinx trolling me. And everything else that could outspeed me later, I'm just going to use an X speed, so the fact that my speed is terrible will not be an issue. Interestingly, version-wise, Pikachu and Eevee actually play out basically the same the last hour. The difference only lies in your rival fights, because your rival will have Jolteon or Raichu, depending on your version. And Jolteon is harder to kill. It is bulkier, so Pikachu version actually has to waste an extra turn on the final fight of the game just to win the fight. Not always, unless you have a really good Starmie, you can dodge it. This Starmie's so bad. Like, you going back between this Starmie is like awful and really good. It just has terrible offense and really good defense. But version-wise, in the first 2 hours of the run, I greatly prefer Pika version. It does have some extra like reset points that are unlikely but that can happen, but I do find the run generally more consistent, which means I enjoy it more. I also think a lot of the minigame strats are really interesting and really cool. And you have backups for other things, like if you don't get Rhyhorn, you can just ride an Arcanine instead, which is really cool. Stealth Rock is awesome. It only has a chance to use Stealth Rock if you have more than 1 Pokemon alive. So the fact that I brought Aerodactyl for safety here means we're good. But generally in this route, in this category, you want to bring Aerodactyl regardless because Lance is much harder to beat when you're underleveled. Normally you're level 53 just in time for his Dragonite coming out. And if you have maxed out special attack from using X items, it's still a range. Even at some special attacks at level 53. And again, level 53 is a damage boosting level like I talked about earlier. So I'm only going to be level 52 for that, which means I don't get that free damage boost. And I'm probably not one-shotting it, which is why we have Aerodactyl to help clean it up for us. But Bruno, kind of a joke, fighting type. We're Psychic. Psychic's a really powerful move. Really powerful type. Well, in fact, you can lose here, though, if you get like Earthquaked to low HP. That Hitmonlee has an incredibly rare chance to use Feint and just kill you. It has never happened to me, but it has happened to other runners many times. Well, it has happened to some runners many times. So I heal there. And I fight Agatha. Agatha is actually really scary. I probably should have saved, but I do have the Revive and I have Aerodactyl, so relatively safe. His Arbok is terrifying because it has Glare and does a ton of damage to you because it has Crunch. So that's actually why we picked up the full restore earlier. We want to be able to full restore after it glares and hits us. Normally you actually have... This is one part where Friendship's actually really good because you can break through paralysis with the power of love. Unfortunately, my Friendship is not good because I am low level. So I'm going to X Special, X Speed, and then I'll full restore this next turn. That's a crit. Thank you for not killing me. Shout out to 142 HP. There's a little bit of status lag from that animation. You kind of saw it for a second. All right, no defense drop, which is awesome. Defense drop's the scary thing there, especially defense drop with crit. And then, because we didn't get anything weird from Arbok, the rest of the fight's standard. Oh, my Friendship is actually high enough. Cool. So I actually would have... I did have a chance to get Power of Love there. You saw the turnarounds confirm that I had enough Friendship. Interesting. I'm very excited to do the champion strat because I never get to do it. It's very funny, and we'll talk about it in a bit. One more Psychic. And then there'll be Agatha. Again, Agatha, really scary fight normally. It's probably not the one I've lost. Like, I've definitely lost the most runs to Lance. But Agatha just feels bad because when things go bad, they go really, really bad. Whereas Lance is just like, oh, you either get the range or you don't. You get the 13 out of 16 chance to one-shot or you don't. So I'm going to go ahead... heal here. Max Elixir. And I'm going to do a funny strat here. This is a strat we came up with. I don't remember who exactly made it. I want to say Etiquette, maybe. Came up with for the tournament that we had a few months ago. I talked about it earlier. We have a lot of better safety strats for late game now, and this is one of them. So there's no risk here, and it's actually really important to do the safety strat when you are underleveled, because otherwise Dragonite's a nightmare, and you probably are not defeating it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to leave the next speed. See what it does here. He goes for Hyper Beam Dodge. That's weird, but okay. Sure. It's not... I was hoping for like Hyper Beam hit, but this is fine too. So I spend one turn just to give myself that X speed. And then I'm just going to keep buffing my Starmie for the rest of this fight and keep attacking. The AI gets really weird. So I kind of talked about it earlier, but the way AI works when you do a 2v1 is that the way it decides who it sends out next is it'll pick one of the Pokemon at random and just look at the moves and the types that it has available to it in its party. and be like, okay, what is like the most effective like typing that I could use in this situation? Like, oh, I have this move. This Pokemon has a move that can be 4x effective, and that is the most effective thing available, and that will do the most damage. It doesn't actually do damage rolls. It just looks at like base power and typing, and then it'll send it out. However, in the Elite Four, they're guaranteed to always send their ace out last, which is nice for us and simplifies things quite a bit. Because this guarantees that we're fully set up when this Dragonite comes out, and we don't have to worry too much. So this Psychic will probably not kill the Dragonite, however my Crunch will. Right? Right? Surely. Yeah. Nice crit. And now I get to do the best strat in the game, which I don't have written down, so I might mess it up, so I'm going to save just to be sure. This is a strat you can only do in the situation where you catch Meowth. Meowth is a version exclusive, so you cannot do this ever on Pika version, but you can do it on Eevee version. It's very silly. So I'm going to keep that second trainer out. I'm going to deposit. There's Meowth. The reason why I can use Meowth is because I wanted to save. I will save. The reason I want to use Meowth is entirely because it has the move Fake Out. And that's going to buy me a free turn and give me just some free time to set up before I start sweeping my opponent's team. Normally you do this fight one controller and like a PB attempt, and it's really scary, and many people's PB runs have died to this fight because you'll see why in a second. So if you played older games, you know that usually people lead their strongest Pokemon last. However, this game's very smart, and it's prepared for speedrunners, and leads the strongest Pokemon first. There's Fake Out. I was like, where is it? Because Mega Evolutions exist. Deleting Mega Pidgeot. This thing is a menace. Air Slash. Super boosted stats. It is terrifying. Oh wait, I did this wrong. Yeah, no, I have to X special still. Yeah. Oopsie. Alright, goodbye Meowth. I'm gonna T-Volt for safety. Okay, well I suck, but I have full HP, so I'm safe here. I got the kill anyway, let's go. Alright, so this fight's fine now. Our second player is just kind of chilling for motivational support now. Just a funny little strat you can do sometimes. Mega Evos, this is the only fight we're going to see them. Again, you can see them in post-game a lot more. This is the only fight in the runner you see them. It is terrifying. I cannot tell you how many runs that Mega Pidgeot has killed, because it just likes to crit a lot. And it's really bad when it does, because normally the strat is like you X special defense, so you can take more hits, and then you X speed and do 1 to 2 X specials, depending on your stats. And it stinks. It just kills you so many times, and this is another kind of safer strat you can do. There are other strats you can do too, with like Rapidash. You can just straight up 2-controller fight. It's also fine. Works totally okay. One last level up for the road. Again, I got this level basically a whole level later than you normally do. These stats are so bad. Every time I see them, I'm like, man. Then we Thunderbolt these Slowbro. And that is Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, any percent. I have no idea what time we're at, but thanks everybody for watching this run. Time will be when Fates Black at Hall of Fame. This is my favorite game, my favorite speedrun. I basically just gushed about this game nonstop for 3 hours, and I could keep going if I needed to. I love this game so much. I've speedrun this game for over 4 years now. It is my favorite speedrun. Best speedrun ever. Speedrun that is basically a randomizer. Highly recommend if you're interested in learning this game. It's the easiest Pokemon speedrun to learn, in my opinion. It's the hardest to master, one of the hardest to masters, but I think it's incredibly easy to learn. It was my first Pokemon speedrun, actually. I have great beginner resources, speedrun.com/look up Pokemon Let's Go. I made beginner guides for both Pikachu and Eevee versions, so if you have either one, you can totally play either. You do not need to do the funny mount skips with the controller. Don't worry about it. If you want to see more Pokemon speedrun stuff or TCG stuff or casual stuff, shout out Meowth in the Hall of Fame. I do a bunch of that on my Twitch, twitch.tv/etchy. Time in 3, 2, 1. Bam. Also, if you want to see the world record runs for this category, they're all on my YouTube, youtube.com/ or for multiple 80% categories. Subtle flex. I didn't mean it to come off like that. youtube.com/etch. If you just look up Etchy on YouTube, you'll find it too. A lot of good content on there for Let's Go. I also have some resources for learning the game, some tutorial stuff as well. Really appreciate you all watching. I don't want to keep us here too long because it is time for the next show. Thank you all so much. And see you next time. Bye-bye.